That is the spirit in which we would like to introduce CoWIN, which we believe is a platform that can be adapted and scaled up for health interventions across the globe. We would like, through this event, to share our experience of developing and operating this platform. We stand ready to make the CoWIN platform available to our partner countries. We will begin the proceedings with the words of wisdom and guidance from the Honorable Prime Minister of India. I welcome you all again and thank you for your participation in this global conclave. Namaskar.
Distinguished ministers, senior officers, health professionals, and friends from all over the world. Namaskar. I'm delighted that such a large number of experts from various countries have joined us for the CoWIN Global Conclave. At the outset, I convey my sincere condolences for all the lives lost to the pandemic in all the countries. There is no parallel to such a pandemic in 100 years. Experience shows that no nation, however powerful that nation is, can solve a challenge like this in isolation. The biggest lesson from the COVID-19 pandemic is that for humanity and the human cause, we have to work together and move ahead together. We have to learn from each other and guide each other about our best practices. Right from the beginning of this pandemic, India has been committed to sharing all our experiences, expertise, and resources with the global community in this battle. Despite all our constraints, we have tried to share as much as possible with the world. And we remain eager to learn from global practices. Friends, technology is integral to our fight against COVID-19. Luckily, software is one area in which there are no resource constraints. That is why we made our COVID tracking and tracing app open source as soon as it was technically feasible. With nearly 200 million users, this Arogya Setu app is readily available package for developers. Having been used in India, you can be sure that it has been tested in the real world for speed and scale. Friends, vaccination is the best hope for humanity to emerge successfully from the pandemic. And right from the beginning, we in India decided to adopt a completely digital approach while planning our vaccination strategy. In today's globalized world, if the post-pandemic world has to return to normalcy, such a digital approach is essential. After all, people must be able to prove that they have been vaccinated. Such proof must be safe, secure, and trustworthy. People also must have a record of when and where and by whom they have been vaccinated. Given how precious is dose of the vaccines each, governments are also concerned about making sure that each dose is tracked and wastage is minimized. All of this is not possible without an end-to-end digital approach. Friends, Indian civilization considers the whole world as one family. The pandemic has made many people realize the fundamental truth of this philosophy. That is why our technology platform for COVID vaccination, the platform we call CoWIN, is being prepared to be made open source. Soon, it will be available in any and all countries. Today's conclave is the first step to introduce this platform to all of you. This is the platform through which India has administered 350 million doses of COVID vaccines. A few days ago, we vaccinated about 9 million people in one day. They do not need to carry around fragile pieces of paper to prove anything. It is all available in digital format. But best of all, the software can be customized to any country as per their local requirements. You will find out a lot more about the technical details in the conclave today. I'm sure you are keen to start, and I do not want to keep you waiting. So, let me conclude by extending my best wishes to all of you for a very productive discussion today, guided by the approach of One Earth, One Health. Humanity will certainly overcome this pandemic. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We are deeply grateful to our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi sir, who has spared time from his extremely hectic schedule to share his encouraging message for the conclave. Honorable Prime Minister has been the guiding light in the midst of the storm and has spearheaded India's COVID response. It is Honorable Prime Minister's vision to organize this conclave for sharing the CoWIN platform as global public digital good. I also thank Shri H.V. Shringla sir for the warm welcome of the dignitaries and participants. I now request Shri Rajesh Bhushan, Secretary, Department of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, to share with all of us India's efforts to combat COVID-19. Shri Rajesh Bhushan, an Indian Administrative Service Officer, is currently Secretary, Department of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. In his more than 3 decades of public service, both in the state government and the union government, sir has served as an administrator and policy maker, having held a wide range of assignments in the fields of information, education, transport, rural development, and health. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Harshvardhan, Honorable Union Minister of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. Dr. R.S. Sharma, Chairman, Empowered Group on Technology and Data Management and Chief Executive Officer, National Health Authority. Shri Harshvardhan Shringla, Foreign Secretary of India. My colleagues in the room, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Namaskar. A very warm welcome from India to all of you. I am honored to share the highlights of India's efforts in combating the COVID-19 pandemic with this August gathering. It was in 2019 that the first case of COVID-19 was reported globally, and the Government of India instituted prompt safeguards to contain the spread of the virus. Under the able guidance of Honorable Prime Minister of India, comprehensive guidelines and standard operating procedures were issued. Thereafter, all the states and union territories in the country established robust protocols for surveillance, prevention, detection, and management of COVID-19. We mobilized a massive network of more than 1 million frontline healthcare workers to undertake micro-level testing and tracing strategies. We also harnessed the power of digital technologies to integrate and scale up these efforts across the country. India ramped up its healthcare infrastructure, and we increased domestic production of life-saving and essential medicines, diagnostic kits, vaccines, medical equipment like ventilators, oxygen plants, concentrators, personal protection equipments, N95 masks, and consumables. As the second wave of the pandemic began, India again came together as one to stop the virus. We were able to significantly increase our ICU beds and considerably augment the production of medical oxygen with the help of all stakeholders. We all work together to see that the resources are properly allocated with equity and optimally utilized. We received material and moral support from friendly countries. We also provided drugs, diagnostics, and other logistical supports to various countries, as we understand that it is a global combat against COVID. In keeping with this belief, India played a pivotal role in supply of essential medicines, test kits, protection gear to over 150 countries while addressing domestic shortages of essential medical commodities. India has also adopted an astute testing strategy to ensure that at any point of time in any region within our country, requisite tests are carried out without overwhelming the infrastructure. When the virus for the first time reached Indian shores, there was only a single lab, the National Institute of Virology in Pune, that was capable of conducting COVID-19 tests. Today, there are more than 2,700 labs that are doing RT-PCR tests across our vast country. In the sphere of use of information technology, we developed the Arogya Setu mobile app for tracing and tracking COVID suspect individuals. Around 200 million people are using this app. This has also helped us to identify clusters of COVID-19 cases and initiate appropriate containment steps. We have also set up a COVID-19 India portal for real-time monitoring of cases within the country. We have also ensured that patients with other diseases would not suffer due to lack of treatment. The Pan-India Healthcare Providers Network of Ayushman Bharat PMJ has been specially leveraged for ensuring the availability of healthcare services while at the same time addressing the pandemic. Telemedicine services, for which we created e-Sanjeevani application, and this application has more than 7 million consultations so far from April 2020 till date. This has complemented the physical network of healthcare facilities. Most importantly, we developed the CoWIN platform, a pioneering tech-based platform built within a short period of time for systemic planning, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of COVID-19 vaccination across the country. This unique digital platform records each and every vaccination event. India has so far administered more than 350 million doses, all of which has been captured on CoWIN. As the session unfolds today, You will get to hear more about this inclusive IT-based platform. India feels obligated to extend all possible assistance to the international community because we always believe in coexistence, collaboration, and co-prosperity. To tackle the pandemic, what we require is to increase the pace of vaccination in a systematic and seamless manner. We feel honored to extend our support to nations seeking the learnings and knowledge with regard to eventual adoption of CoWIN platform. And with this thought, I would like to conclude. And Excellencies, I sincerely hope that today we would have a mutually productive and fruitful discussion. I thank you all. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful speech. I now welcome Dr. R.S. Sharma, Chairman of Empowered Group on Technology and Data Management and Chief Executive Officer, National Health Authority, to set the context for today's conclave with his keynote speech. Dr. R.S. Sharma, an ex-Indian Administrative Service Officer, is currently the Chief Executive Officer of the National Health Authority of Government of India. He is also the Chairman of Empowered Group on Vaccine Administration for COVID-19. Sir was the Founding Director General and Mission Director of the Unique Identification Authority of India, which launched Aadhaar, the world's largest digital identity platform. Sir has been a champion of technology-driven governance and has led a number of e-governance projects at union and provincial level during his illustrious career spanning over more than 4 decades. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Harshvardhan, Honorable Union Minister of Health and Family Welfare, Mr. Rajesh Bhushan, the Union Health Secretary, Mr. Harshvardhan Sringla, Foreign Secretary, esteemed Excellencies, distinguished panelists, and my dear friends from India and abroad, the CoWIN Global Conclave. Namaskar. We are all assembled here today to share our thoughts on the CoWIN Global Outreach Program that endeavors to share this tech-enabled vaccination platform as a free public good with the world. When the subject had come up in a meeting on vaccine administration recently, it was our Honorable Prime Minister who had told me with an absolute resolve that we should do everything with the objective of helping others, including sharing of our CoWIN platform with the world. I feel happy today as we take the first step towards realizing the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister. It's a known fact that nations across the world are endeavoring for universal vaccination amidst the steepest timelines. It is clear as we thrive in the age of digital in the 21st century, we cannot rely on methodologies from a century ago of achieving herd immunity by letting a pandemic leave the society devastated, like the Spanish flu did. Persistent immunization is going to be, by far, the most effective means to keep our people safe globally. However, even with the availability of vaccine against COVID-19 now, the challenge for equitable distribution across geographies still stands tall ahead of us. Though we have previously seen success stories of eradication in smallpox across the world and polio in India, these efforts have spanned across decades, with ailments spanning maybe even centuries. The virulent nature of this virus and its highly infectious nature does not provide us with the luxury of time as in the previous cases. Such past experiences and current developments have shown us that extreme speed, smooth coordination, and vaccine efficiency are paramount to counter a pandemic such as the COVID-19. We also foresaw the need to balance these three while also providing individual agency and flexibility to vaccination centers and people alike. This is tricky for any country, but it is even trickier for India, given our population size of over 1.3 billion, along with the cultural, linguistic, and geographical diversity with the federal structure. This is where CoWIN stepped in. CoWIN, or the COVID Vaccine Intelligence Network, has been serving as the tech backbone of one of the largest vaccination programs in the world. Launched by our Honorable Prime Minister on 16th of January 2021, the CoWIN portal has scaled rapidly amidst a turbulently evolving landscape. It fills me with pride to share with you that CoWIN has become the fastest tech platform in the world to amass over 200 million registrations in a record 4 months, and then 300 million registrations in a mere 5 months, yet another record. What adds more credibility to this achievement is the sheer scalability of the system, which is entertaining over 1 billion HTTP requests on an average daily. However, the success of CoWIN has not been an overnight miracle. The achievement of this feat has been a result of a decade-long digital journey of the nation that started with Aadhaar, a universal biometric digital identification system, and caught lightning speed in 2015 with the launch of the Digital India Initiative. A serendipitous arrangement of public digital artifacts has shaped this digital journey for India. The journey began with providing a digitally verifiable identity to all Indians through Aadhaar. This layer of identity was topped by a system of digital delivery. Having covered the entire population with a digital identity, we have facilitated over 9 billion electronic KYC transactions and over 56 billion digital authentications. Another offshoot of this was the rise of UPI, or the Unified Payment Interface, which was launched in 2016. The interoperable payment system has witnessed over 2.7 billion monthly digital transactions, worth over 67 billion monthly. And today, on a monthly basis, it accounts for more transactions than debit and credit cards at POS terminals combined. The flagship programs such as Digital India and Janadhan Aadhaar Mobile, which is JAM Trinity, has led to the transformational foundation of digital empowerment for all. We now have community service centers in more than 240,000 Gram Panchayats out of 250,000 across the country that are working as centers of digital empowerment of the people. This has been facilitated further by a telecom revolution in India that has taken the number of wireless internet connections from 70 million, a mere 70 million in 2014, to 742 million today, a tenfold jump in 7 years. The average monthly data usage per user in India has increased 20% year on year to 13.5 GB in December 2020, which is with the cost plummeting by 95% for 1 GB of data, from $4 in 2014 to 20 cents per GB today. India's mobile network transports more data than the corresponding mobile networks of US and China put together. India is probably the only country in the world where people in rural areas watching films on their mobile. Taking a cue from the success of such scalable and interoperable systems, today the CoWIN platform is not only handling the overall management of citizen registration, appointment scheduling and certification, but it has also ensured vaccine accessibility and inclusivity for scheduling and certificating. It has helped with efficient vaccination utilization and decentralized system of governance and management. Being a single source of truth, CoWIN provides a transparent system that enables end-to-end traceability of vaccines. With interactive dashboards accessible to all stakeholders alike, we remove information asymmetry from the entire ecosystem. This not only ensures equitability, but also checks rent-seeking behavior over distribution at nodal points. This aspect of CoWIN also turns it into an active feedback tool for us. As policymakers, we are able to evaluate each brand of vaccination and make data-driven decisions for public health policy. Such an AEFI data system would be our early warning system to pause or in extreme cases even terminate the rollout if a vaccine were found to introduce unacceptable side effects. In addition to this, CoWIN has been instrumental in influencing the vaccination administration policy as well. Early learnings from implementing CoWIN taught us that a supply-driven approach may inevitably result in lower efficiency of vaccine centers. This helped us to take a demand-driven distribution approach and also make booking second appointment flexible at any center. As a result, we have achieved an administration of over 350 million vaccine doses in India, as the Honorable Prime Minister just now informed. With at least 284 million Indians receiving at least one dose. This means that almost every third Indian above the age of 18 years has received at least one dose. And the ticker is climbing new peaks every day. Recently, on 21st June, we recorded the highest number of vaccination in a single day. That is over 9 million doses administered in one day alone. In India, as we are looking to scale our vaccination efforts further, we believe that the partnership with the public and private sector is quintessential. The beauty of CoWIN's architecture makes such collaboration even simpler. With an interoperable design, CoWIN has been designed as an amalgamation of open APIs. This allows private and public organizations to build on top of the CoWIN platform, while all systems continue to talk to each other and maintain that single source of truth. In this open design of CoWIN, that is allowing us to share it with the world as public digital good. Countries interested in availing CoWIN enjoy the liberty of customizing and modifying the platform as per their needs. What makes the system highly configurable is its dynamic and evolvable design and parameterization of inputs. This allows us to add new and concurrent developments and also add the brands of vaccine on the fly while adapting their administration schedule based on research and developments. It is exactly this dimension of the platform that makes it inclusive and accessible to all, as there is no black box of rules. As this pandemic has taken its toll on nations globally, the gaps in the healthcare delivery have become more apparent than ever. In India, we want to continue to build the success of CoWIN to address these gaps and invest in the development of the tech infrastructure for healthcare. As you will hear in the session later today, we are now focusing on creating a national digital health program, which in a couple of years will ensure that the entire country is connected through a grid that connects and validates the identity of patients, healthcare providers, healthcare facilities, and pharmacies. All these stakeholders will get connected through an open and interoperable grid that will leverage the extensive internet connectivity and the robust digital identity Aadhaar, helping plug the current gaps in healthcare delivery. Now, as my address comes to a close, I would like to use this opportunity to show my gratitude to our Honorable Prime Minister, under whose directive CoWIN has come to fruition. I also want to thank all my colleagues that have worked round the clock to build this beautiful technology that is enabling a smooth and effective vaccination campaign for India and hopefully for the world tomorrow. I would now conclude by quoting from our holy scripture, the Bhagavad Gita, calling all nations to be more agile in achieving the target of universal vaccination by 2020. What it means is, just as a tender plant is easy to cut down, the same requires much more effort when fully grown. Likewise, any disease is manageable in the early stage. It becomes almost incurable when it grows. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, for setting the tone and tenor for today's event with your intuitive speech. And now, I would like to humbly request Dr. Harshvardhan, sir, Honorable Union Minister of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, to unveil the video on India's CoWIN journey and grace this event with his speech. Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan, sir, is an ever-dynamic, high-integrity politician with a scientific temper. His enthusiasm and determination about empowering India knows no bounds. A human with a mission, some laud him for his contribution towards eradication of polio, while others revere him for his anti-tobacco mission. In June this year, the World Health Assembly has honored him with Director's Medal for his contribution in the field. With his tenure as the chairman of the Executive Board of WHO coming to an end, he has recently taken over as the chairman of the Stop Tuberculosis Partnership Board. He is also a member of the Global Alliance of Vaccines and Immunization Board dealing with global policy on vaccines. As the Union Health Minister of the world's largest democracy, Dr. Harshvardhan has been bravely leading the war against COVID-19 pandemic under the benevolent leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. Over to you, sir, please.
India's biggest vaccination drive is underway with more than 350 million doses administered across the country through a network of 138,427 COVID vaccination centers. While the development and manufacturing of COVID-19 vaccine is one of the most amazing feats in the history of India, vaccinating 1.37 billion Indians is also not a trivial task. Here's the story of India's journey towards universal COVID vaccination with CoWIN platform. From the very beginning, we were walking on a tightrope to build a platform that embraced the geographical, cultural and linguistic diversity of India.
कुछ ही मिनट बाद भारत में दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा टीकाकरण अभियान शुरू होने जा रहा है। मैं सभी देशवासियों को इसके लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूँ।
Under the dynamic leadership of our Prime Minister, India started the development of a scalable, inclusive and open platform called CoWIN. It is the tech backbone of India's vaccination drive, designed to serve as a single source of truth and help with strategizing, implementing, monitoring and evaluating India's vaccination drive.
India has already administered around 350 million doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. Our target is to complete vaccination for all our adult citizens by the end of this year. This is a mammoth task which required a robust, inclusive and scalable system that could sustain the mass vaccination drive. We also had to ensure that the platform has a dynamic architecture capable of evolving and thriving in the changing circumstances. India has always believed that the world is one family and is happy to share this platform with our partners.
India started its vaccination program in a graded manner on 16 January 2021, when the CoWIN platform was first opened for health workers. A little later, all frontline workers were included. From 1st March onwards, all senior citizens above 60 years of age started getting vaccinated. This was followed by vaccination of people between 45 to 60 years, and finally for individuals between 18 to 44 years. Within 5 months, the platform became the fastest tech platform in the world to get 350 million registered users, a feat achieved by few.
Not only that this platform records the vaccination event, actually it provides a very important tool for policymakers to design the data-driven policy and to fine-tune the policy as we go along, so that we are able to leverage the data availability for better and more fine-tuned policy making. And in fact, we have been doing that since last about 5 months by sort of increasing the scope of vaccination to people and also implementing many of these policies and enforcing the same through digital means.
The platform is designed to cater to the requirements of all stakeholders. For citizens, the platform provides multilingual, transparent and easy to use web and mobile interface, 3 modes of registration: online, offline and assisted, guidance on interval between vaccine doses, convenience in vaccination slot booking, instant digital certificate. For vaccination centers, it enables vaccine stock management, efficient vaccine utilization, publishing vaccination schedules, verification of citizens through multiple modes, real-time dashboard. For government, the platform helped in ensuring its maximum of minimum government and maximum governance. It provides dashboards and data analysis regarding vaccination, mechanisms to prevent rent-seeking and black marketing, data-driven public health policy. In a nutshell, this is an agile platform that can be customized and scaled up for health interventions across the globe. The algorithms are designed to quickly respond and adapt to feedback.
We needed a platform, an electronic platform to capture all vaccination events. And that is where CoWIN came into the picture. When the portal was opened for people aged 18 to 44 years, the platform was able to handle more than 13.5 million registrations within the first 8 hours of its opening. So that gives you some idea of the robustness and strength of this electronic platform. The platform has made it possible for us to do a systematic and seamless rollout of the vaccination drive across the length and breadth of our great country.
The platform has undergone constant evolution with changes in the vaccination policy. With each rollout stage, it became more robust, user-friendly and fully loaded with features such as slot booking based on preferred vaccination brand availability, platform adapted for differently abled, registrations through 24/7 support through 1075 toll-free number, optimized capacity to handle load of billions of visits.
हमने जो टेक्नोलॉजी प्लेटफॉर्म बनाया है कोविन, उसकी भी पूरी दुनिया में चर्चा हो रही है। अनेक देशों ने भारत के इस प्लेटफॉर्म को इसमें इस्तेमाल करने में रुचि भी दिखाई है।
We are excited to join hands with the world to win over COVID-19 together with CoWIN.
May I now request Dr. Harshvardhan, Union Health Minister, to please share with us a few words.
Namaskar. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to welcome all of you here today for this historic global CoWIN conclave. It is an honor to be addressing this august gathering of more than 400 international participants from 142 countries, 20 embassies and UN offices in India. I am also delighted to note that our distinguished participants include honorable ministers, health officials, and experts from different countries across the globe. India has always upheld its belief in the ancient philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means the entire world is one family. And this conclave is a shining example of the same. I must say, my government is more than glad to share with our extended global family the path-breaking next generation digital platform CoWIN, which has been indigenously developed in India and is powering the rapid progress of one of the world's largest vaccination drives against COVID-19. Just recently, in India, we marked the completion of 6 years of our Digital India initiative, a brainchild of our visionary Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji. Various endeavors under the initiative have been helping us transform the lives of 1.3 billion plus Indians, drastically improving access to welfare schemes and services, plugging leakages and ensuring equitable access to growth and progress for one and all. Financial inclusion, furthering innovation and entrepreneurship, e-learning, health for all are just a few areas where giant strides have been made with the help of technology. In my humble opinion, CoWIN is the crown jewel of our Digital India initiative. This platform shall go down in history for facilitating inoculation of a large percentage of the world's population with ease, while simultaneously ensuring complete transparency. The accolades the platform has been winning globally, and the interest expressed by so many partner nations in seeking our technology, expertise, and know-how in this domain just reaffirms my belief. Friends, for more than a year and a half now, combating this pandemic has been the dominant agenda for countries the world over. It is one of the most challenging public health crises in human history. COVID-19 has infected millions of people and has had a devastating impact on the livelihood of many more. As the dark clouds of the pandemic engulfed the entire globe, a silver lining emerged in the form of heightened global solidarity and enhanced cooperation between nations. We have observed collaborations at a scale and pace never seen before. Even though COVID-19 enforced lockdowns and compulsion to maintain physical distance, it has only brought humankind closer to work together with greater collective resolve to overcome this unprecedented challenge. Throughout this pandemic, we have been keeping a close eye on the fast evolving global situation while continually devising and revising effective strategies to manage COVID-19, guided by scientific evidence and following best practices. With the aid of technology, we have been able to execute large-scale surveillance to effectively implement our test, track, and treat strategy, helping us attain one of the lowest fatality rates in the world. All this while, our scientists worked at lightning speed to provide us with 2 vaccines against COVID-19 in record time, which helped us kickstart our vaccination drive in mid-January. As remarkable as this achievement has been, it was not the only challenge in front of us. With a country of more than 1.3 billion people, we faced a mammoth challenge of ensuring fair and equitable distribution of the vaccines, as well as their last mile delivery. Privy to the Herculean task ahead of us, India started working on this front well in advance. For a successful vaccination program, we needed the active participation of our entire health infrastructure across the public and private sector. Further, we also needed to develop a robust system that can prevent rent-seeking, black marketing, and other malpractices, which, if not checked, can thwart a mass vaccination drive. Taking cognizance of these challenges, empowered groups of domain experts were quickly constituted to meticulously plan and subsequently execute the vaccination drive. The backbone of this drive had to be a comprehensive platform which would ensure equitable coverage across all our states and union territories, ensure inclusive distribution of vaccines using data to remove information asymmetry and align stakeholders, and continuous tracking of adverse events following immunization to not only respond to help such citizens to overcome adverse events, but also generate data for policy making. Finally, this platform needed to ensure ease of use, while also offering multilingual access. With the agenda in place, experts from my Ministry of Health and those from the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology came together to co-create this CoWIN platform in coordination with various other stakeholders, giving birth to the robust IT system for planning, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of COVID-19 vaccination in India. Today, I am proud to say that CoWIN is the bedrock of India's vaccination drive that handles overall management of citizen registration, appointment scheduling, vaccinations, and certification. The transparent system allows tracking of each dose of vaccine, monitoring of supplies at vaccination facilities to record the demand at a granular level. It has, in fact, enabled vaccine accessibility and inclusivity for all. As we speak, India is inching closer to administering 360 million COVID-19 vaccine doses, a feat achieved in less than 6 months since the launch of our vaccination drive. And we are committed to inoculating our entire adult population by December 2021. Friends, the spirit of collaboration has probably been the greatest learning from this pandemic. Shared challenges such as the current public health crisis can only be addressed through shared actions and resources. The fact that vaccinating everyone is key to containing and ending the pandemic cannot be emphasized enough. The need of the hour is to speed up the pace of vaccinating people across the world. For this, we are excited to offer the CoWIN platform as a technology tool that can be used for greater public good around the world. I hope all your countries are able to gain value and benefit from our offering. Our CoWIN platform is a mirror of the success of the Digital India program, which has witnessed a consistent upward growth trajectory, achieving numerous milestones and dotted with flagship initiatives. We are also spearheading the National Digital Health Mission, which will help to deliver many services digitally. The National Digital Health Mission will house all kinds of databases, which will have a facility for the patient to fetch his or her records whenever required. Information technology and communication technologies have huge potential to provide new opportunities and challenges, especially for developing economies. India is now harnessing technologies along with vast economic reforms to open up Indian markets to global businesses and investments. Our focus on amplifying digitization has deepened, and we have begun to acknowledge its potential to transform India into a true technology leader. Excellencies and distinguished guests, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to address this esteemed gathering. My wishes to all of you for fruitful discussions ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your words of wisdom and encouragement. None of this would have happened without leadership that was open to driving change and innovation. It is a pleasure and privilege to have the presence of our esteemed dignitaries, honorable ministers from Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Djibouti, Guyana, and Maldives. May I request His Excellency Junaid Ahmed Polo, Honorable Minister of State for ICT, Government of People's Republic of Bangladesh, to share his insights with us.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction. Your Excellency, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, Honorable Union Minister, of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, Dr. Harshavardhan, honorable ministers from Afghanistan, Bhutan, and Maldives, respected Foreign Secretary, Government of India, Mr. Harshavardhan Shringla, respected Secretary, Department of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, doctors, technologists, founders, and delegates, friends from media, Assalamu alaikum, namaskar, and good afternoon. It is a great honor to represent Bangladesh and have the opportunity to speak in front of such a distinguished audience. At the outset, on the 50th anniversary of independence of Bangladesh and birth centenary of father of our nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, I would like to pay my homage to the martyrs of our liberation war, including the heroes from India who participated in our fight for freedom, and to the father of our nation, because of whom we have our freedom and our great independent country, Bangladesh. We remember with solemnity and gratitude the support of India during the 1971 Liberation War. I would like to thank the government of India for your support with vaccines and the knowledge sharing to fight the pandemic. We are passing through an unprecedented crisis in the history of humankind due to the COVID-19 pandemic. I take this opportunity to pay my tribute to all frontline fighters, including doctors and other health workers, government officials, political leaders, and workers who are working tirelessly to ensure safety of the affected countries and population. We have used digital technologies to sustain our economy during COVID pandemic. From working from home to maintaining the agriculture supply chain, this has been possible because of the quick shift to digital to support business continuity in all areas, including government services, education, health, commerce, agriculture, entertainment, and other private businesses. This journey started 12 years ago with the declaration of the Digital Bangladesh Vision by the Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. The architect of Digital Bangladesh, Mr. Sajib Wazir Joy, the ICT Affairs Advisor to Prime Minister, strategized the Vision 2021 to be implemented under 4 pillars or blocks: e-governance, connectivity, human capital, development, and ICT industry promotion. And under his direct guidance, we are implementing the Digital Bangladesh Vision. Digital tools are being used effectively and efficiently by the government to monitor, track, trace, and contain the spread of the virus, map hotspots, keep people informed, and also to deliver welfare measures and citizen services. Digital services like telemedicine, live update, self-testing tools, National Help Desk 333, COVID support helplines, e-Nothi, artificially intelligent powered chatbot, contract tracer, mobile applications, mobile financial services, digital commerce, digital content, and videos by Muktopat and other e-learning platforms have been making the lives of the citizens easier during this pandemic. The in-house programmers of ICT division of the government of Bangladesh developed the vaccine management system Surakha, which is being successfully used for mass vaccination. Over 1 crore citizens who are eligible for COVID vaccines have registered so far using the system. Through the Surakha platform, we are providing all services related to vaccination, from registration, generating vaccine card, nearest vaccine center locator, time and date vaccination, to downloading vaccination certificate. Bangladesh has learned from the current pandemic that we have to move all together to survive, to prosper, and to protect this world. This is not the time to compete, but rather to cooperate. I would like to propose introduction of digital COVID vaccine passport to the representatives from the health and technology domains from various countries present here today. This will ensure the security and facilitate trade and tourism within our region. I would like to finish with a quote. I quote, "If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Let's work together to make this world a better and safer place for all." Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu.
Thank you so much. The Honorable Deshain Wangmo, Honorable Health Minister, Government of Bhutan, to grace this event with her speech. Over to you, ma'am.
Shri Dr. Harshvardhan, Honorable Union Minister, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, Honorable Ministers, all distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Warmest greetings from the Royal Government of Bhutan. The Royal Government of Bhutan would like to applaud the Government of India, in particular, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, under the able leadership of Shri Dr. Harshvardhan, for successfully rolling out the world's largest COVID vaccination drive using the CoWIN application, which is scalable, inclusive, and interoperable. I, on behalf of the government and the Bhutanese people, would like to express our deepest gratitude to the government and people of India for your generous donation to Bhutan. The success we have had with our first dose rollout would not have been possible without the unwavering support of our very special friend, India. We thank you. We would like to congratulate Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi for his exceptional and compassionate leadership and the expression of global solidarity in addressing the vaccine equity issue. CoWIN Global Conclave is yet another great opportunity for countries to learn from India's experience, success, and path-breaking digital platform. Bhutan is fortunate to be part of the CoWIN Global Conclave to learn more on the CoWIN as we embark on our second dose of vaccination campaign preparation and planning, including in-depth review of our own Bhutan vaccine system, an online web-based portal used for COVID-19 vaccination rollout in the country. Bhutan successfully developed the local system, which is integrated with other data hubs that currently exist in the country, such as our citizen data, foreign data, and to ensure authentic data in our system, which is cross-validated with our existing database. The system also features self-pre-registration, line listing, vaccine stock inventory, and also for continuous monitoring of adverse events following immunization management, which is also designed as an offline app as well. As of now, we are happy to inform that we have 72% of our overall population registered in this system. As we go forward, we hope to learn from the CoWIN system and further strengthen our own system so that we have digital compatibility with the global system, such as the CoWIN system. I would also like to echo the wisdom of Shri Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The only way to win this fight against humanity is to work and learn from each other. And this conclave is one such opportunity to strengthen our collaboration and cooperation across many countries. Thank you, and Teshidele.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your valuable thoughts with us. May I now request His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Roble Abdille, Minister of Health, Government of Djibouti, to share a few words with us. Over to you, sir. May I now request His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Roble Abdille, Minister of Health, Government of Djibouti, to share a few words with us. Over to you, sir. Maybe while Sir connects with us, let's move on to the next speaker in the meantime.
I think he's here.
Afghanistan cannot hear the voice. I think there is some problem.
Can request the next one, I think.
Okay, so while we fix the technical issues, let me just invite our next honorable speaker. May I now request His Excellency Dr. Frank C. Anthony, Honorable Health Minister, Government of Guyana, to share his valuable words with us. Over to you, Dr. Frank C. Anthony.
Yeah.
May I please repeat? May I now request His Excellency Dr. Frank C. Anthony, Honorable Health Minister, Government of Guyana, to share his valuable words with us.
Next.
We move on to the next speaker.
Okay.
Good morning.
He's there.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Please carry on.
His Excellency Prime Minister Narendra Modi, His Excellency Health Minister Harsh Vardhan, other health ministers from various countries, other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, fellow colleagues. Greetings from Guyana, greetings from our President, His Excellency President Irfan Ali, who sent his warm greetings for the successes of this conclave. First of all, allow me to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to say a few words at this critical conclave on the use of CoWIN. Allow me to thank once again Prime Minister, the government and people of India for all their efforts in fighting the COVID-19 pandemic in India and around the world. Here in the Caribbean, we have benefited from India's generosity with the donation of Covishield vaccines, which started the vaccination process for most Caribbean countries. In Guyana, these vaccines help to protect the lives of our frontline workers and the elderly. And we thank you once again for extending this generosity to us. In our response to the pandemic, one of our major setbacks has been collecting data in a timely manner and making real-time decisions. We have been grappling with this challenge and searching for the right software, the proper hardware that can work in less than robust situations. Most of what we have done so far has been done manually. So far, we have been able in Guyana to vaccinate 48.4% of our adult population with first dose vaccines and 23.5% of our adult population with second dose. But as we roll out this program, it becomes more difficult to reach the remaining portion of our population without the use of proper technology. From what I've heard this morning, I think that we have found the solution in CoWIN. The IT solution will certainly help us to embrace and to enhance our fight against COVID-19 here in Guyana and in the larger Caribbean. I want to thank Prime Minister Modi and the government of India for their decision to share this technology with the rest of the world. We welcome the opportunity to partner with the government of India and look forward to the rollout of CoWIN in Guyana. We are once again very confident that this technology would help us to get vaccines as quickly as possible to all who are eligible. Once again, thank you for your generosity.
Thank you so much, sir. May I now request His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Roble Abdille, Minister of Health, Government of Djibouti, to share a few words with us. Over to you, sir. May I now request His Excellency Dr. Ahmed
Pretty good, actually. Man.
Okay, so we'll move on to our next speaker.
There. Hey, that is Naseem.
May I now request His Excellency Dr. Shah Mahir, Minister of State for Health, Government of Maldives, to share a few words with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, Dr. Harsh Vardhan, and fellow ministers, distinguished delegates, Assalamu alaikum. I would like to extend my sincere apologies from Health Minister Ahmed Naseem. I'm delighted to take part in this conclave to address on behalf of Maldives. Maldives was like any other country. We were not prepared, and this pandemic was a huge challenge which brought our economies down to our knees, and our healthcare delivery to its limits. Maldives has gone through a lot of crises, challenges in the past, and it becomes difficult for us because of the geography of our country, small islands. Delivery of healthcare is a challenge. Despite these challenges and lack of human resource, we've managed to vaccinate a large number of our population. As you're aware, small states as Maldives, we depend a lot on external resources. Even import of basic foods we depend on other nations. And because our borders were closed, we had extreme difficulty getting imports. Our economy was shut because we depend on tourism. The borders were closed. Despite this, we have managed, with the help of donation from India, our first vaccination program was started. But we found the biggest challenge we had was because of lack of digital infrastructure. Because of the island nature separated by the sea, small communities, that coordination which we require, having a digital infrastructure, would have made it much more smoother, our vaccination program. Therefore, CoWIN globalization of this platform would be very useful for countries like Maldives and other nations to coordinate the vaccination program. We had huge challenges monitoring. We have over 200 small islands where delivery of vaccine has to happen, monitoring of side effects, stock management. All these challenges were faced. So I welcome, and it is extremely generous gesture from India to provide this platform for the vaccination program. And it is the common resource sharing between countries that we can overcome this global pandemic. Unless the whole world is immune and vaccinated, we will still be fighting against COVID-19. So it is important that we all are vaccinated, and we, as countries, we should help each other to build that efficiency, resource sharing, in order to achieve this target. I'd just like to highlight the Maldives managed to vaccinate 70% of its population with first dose and 40% with second dose. So that kickstart was gained by the generous donation by India for us to kickstart with Covishield. So thank you very much. I thank you, Indian government and Indian people, for this generosity. So we have learned through this difficult time that resource sharing is the working as one, as a stakeholder, working together with the whole of government, whole of society approach to combat this disease. And with this experience, we are, as a nation, we are better prepared to combat the next pandemic. So I would like to thank Indian government and to organizing this very important meeting with regards to having a digital platform that we can all use to vaccinate our people. So I thank you very much for the opportunity that was provided. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. May I now request His Excellency Dr. Wahid Masroor, Honorable Minister for Public Health, Government of Afghanistan, to share his thoughts with us. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon. As Minister of Public Health has left for an urgent meeting with the President, so on behalf of him, I will have his statement in this event. Excellency Modi, Honorable Foreign Secretary, Honorable Health Secretary, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all of you. At the very outset, I would like to express my deepest condolence at the loss of precious lives due to COVID-19 pandemic that has significantly disrupted the living systems in communities and overwhelmed the health systems in many countries. This is the second year that the world is facing critical challenge of COVID-19 pandemic. But I am glad that we are using innovative approaches for being together to discuss priorities of public health, including one of the most serious threats of this century to health of our people. COVID-19 has disrupted all aspects of our life and placed us in a very challenging situation. Afghanistan is also among the countries hit hard by COVID-19 pandemic. The impact of COVID-19 on different sectors of Afghanistan has been particularly severe. The country entered the COVID-19 crisis in already vulnerable position. The COVID-19 pandemic highlighted some of significant gaps in hospitals and healthcare facilities in Afghanistan that required immediate attention. Afghanistan has registered its first case of COVID-19 on February 24, 2020, among the returnees from Iran. Luckily, due to timely preparedness of the health system, introduction of appropriate preventive measures, including lockdowns and restrictions on movement in major cities, closure of schools and universities, timely and generous support from partners, the first and second wave of COVID-19 were effectively controlled, as a result of which the COVID-19 related mortality rates have remained low in the regional and global comparison. Now we are going through the third wave of COVID-19 pandemic, and it's a tough time for my fellow citizens. So far, we have 125,937 cases of COVID-19. We recently diagnosed the black fungus infection among the COVID-19 patients, which is an alarming sign for health of my countrymen. Among other challenges, addressing high oxygen demand is a serious challenge in Afghanistan, and we requested our neighboring countries to assist Afghanistan in this regard. Distinguished colleagues, Afghanistan has learned many lessons from COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 has revealed our health system gaps and weaknesses. We understand that the need for bringing reform to many aspects of our health system is much needed than any other time in our history. Even though we have applied prevention, quarantine, detection, immunization, and treatment strategies, we trained our staff and deployed critical supplies to our hospitals and health facilities. We believe that fight against COVID-19 requires coordinated response and global and regional solidarity. India was the first country to donate 500,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccines to Afghanistan. Meanwhile, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the people in the government of India for their generous support to the people in the government of Afghanistan in this critical time. We appreciate the establishment of COVAX facility, but have serious concerns on inequitable distribution of COVID-19 vaccines across the world and limited access to vaccines in Afghanistan and other developing countries, which is crucial for controlling the ongoing pandemic. Vaccinating our citizens against COVID-19 remains a priority for the Ministry of Public Health. So far, we have vaccinated 906,389 individuals. I believe that the CoWIN platform is a great initiative for tracking the progress of vaccination. As the Minister of Information and Technology of Afghanistan, Mrs. Khawari, is present in this event, I would request if we could have such a system in Afghanistan with the support of India. I want to assure you that you will have all kinds of support from MOPH for having such kind of platform in Afghanistan. I thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing His Excellency's words on his behalf. May I now request His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Robleh Abdillah, Minister of Health, Government of Djibouti, to share a few words with us.
I don't think it's there.
May I now request His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Robleh Abdillah, Minister of Health, Government of Djibouti, to share a few words with us. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I want to take this opportunity to extend my deepest gratitude to Your Excellencies for sparing their time and gracing the CoWIN Global Conclave with their distinguished presence. It is indeed an honor for all of us. May I now request Shri Alok Saxena, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, to share the vote of thanks and formally announce the commencement of the technical session. Shri Alok Saxena, Additional Secretary in the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, is also the Director General of Central Government Health Scheme and the National AIDS Control Organization. An officer of the Indian Postal Service, Sir brings vast and varied experience, having worked in Ministry of Home Affairs, Department of Personnel and Training, Ministry of Tourism, 6th Central Pay Commission, and Ministry of Finance. Over to you, sir.
Dr. Harshvardhan, Honorable Union Minister of Health and Family Welfare, His Excellency Dr. Waheed Majroor, Honorable Minister for Public Health, Government of Afghanistan, His Excellency Mr. Junaid Ahmed Polok, Honorable Minister of State for ICT, Government of People's Republic of Bangladesh, Her Excellency Ms. Leonpo Dekchan Bangmo, Honorable Minister, Government of Bhutan, His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Robel Abdulle, Minister, Honorable Minister of Health, Government of Djibouti, His Excellency Dr. Frank C. Anthony, Honorable Minister of Health, Government of Guyana, His Excellency Dr. Shah Mahir, Minister of State for Health, Government of Maldives, Dr. R.S. Sharma, Chairman, Empowered Group on Technology and Data Management and CEO of the National Health Authority, Shri Harshvardhan Shringlaji, Foreign Secretary, Government of India, Dr. Shri Rajesh Bhushan, Secretary, Minister of Health and Family Welfare, colleagues, distinguished participants. It's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks. I express heartfelt gratitude to all the dignitaries for their august presence. We are immensely thankful to our Honorable Prime Minister for finding time from his extremely busy schedule to record his inspiring message. Over 1.3 billion Indians relied on the guidance and visionary leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister in our fight against COVID-19. Honorable Prime Minister has highlighted that across the globe, we must focus on increasing the pace of vaccination, for which increased international cooperation and collaboration is a sine qua non. He suggested us whether we can raise the bar and take the international cooperation to the next level. This is something for all of us to explore during the ensuing sessions. It was also discussed how, under the guidance of our visionary Prime Minister, India followed graded and proactive approach to prevent, contain, and manage this pandemic. I profusely thank our Honorable Union Minister of Health and Family Welfare, Dr. Harshvardhan, for his inaugural speech, highlighting the efforts put in by India in combating the pandemic. Sir has always been the guiding light in all our endeavors. The idea behind this conclave is to share India's technical know-how with the world so that other countries can use CoWIN for larger public good. It is a highly customizable platform and can provide plug-and-play solutions for country-specific vaccination drives. India has highlighted the need for global unity to defeat this invisible enemy. I resonate with the common thought that we can defeat COVID by unity and greater international cooperation. I take this opportunity to thank honorable ministers from Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Djibouti, Guyana, and Maldives for attending the global conclave and addressing the inaugural session. I also thank Dr. R.S. Sharma, Chairman, Empowered Group on Technology and Data Management and CEO NHA, for delivering the keynote address. CoWIN platform has been designed under his able guidance, and he has been the backbone of India's key digital technology platforms. I would also like to thank Dr. Harshvardhan Shringla, Secretary, Minister of External Affairs, for welcoming the August gathering. He has been pivotal in successful organization of this global event. I express my sincere gratitude to my Secretary, Shri Rajesh Bhushan, for presenting a crisp and insightful synopsis of India's efforts in combating the COVID-19 pandemic. Sir has been leading from the front in synthesizing the strategy and devising the implementation plan for containing and managing the pandemic. Delegates and excellencies, with this we come to an end of the inaugural session of the conclave. We will now start with the technical session. These sessions will take us through the journey of CoWIN platform, its architecture, roadmap on sharing CoWIN, that will be followed by a presentation on India's digital health program, National Digital Health Mission. Thank you.
Thank you for the words of gratitude, sir. India's experience over the last year shows what is possible and how much solidarity is out there to overcome such unprecedented challenges. I thank Your Excellencies and all the dignitaries for gracing the inaugural session, and also our technical experts and the thousands of viewers and supporters who have joined us from different parts of the world. We will now commence the technical session, wherein we'll have 3 presentations on CoWIN and 1 presentation on National Digital Health Mission. Simultaneous interpretation is available in 6 additional languages. Please click on the interpretation tab on the bottom right corner of your Zoom window to choose the language of your preference. I would request Shri Vikas Sheel, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, to kindly present India's journey and impact of CoWIN. Vikas Sheel, sir, is an Indian Administrative Service Officer and is currently serving as Additional Secretary at the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. He's leading the design team for CoWIN, coordinating its design, development, and implementation. Sir's experience in public service, including policy formulation, spans over more than 2.5 decades. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, sir, His Excellencies, respected senior colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, in the next 15 minutes or so, I'll take you through the journey of CoWIN in terms of what the features are and how have we developed this system. If you look at the CoWIN, the guiding principles for the CoWIN platform have been equity and inclusiveness. So this platform offers equitable access, be it people with mobile phones, without mobile phones, with internet, without internet, in urban areas or rural areas or the remotest possible rural areas. The platform offers equitable access to all the citizens of the country. It is inclusive in the sense that it also offers access in multilingual interfaces so that language doesn't become a barrier to access. It also acts as a single source of truth for all the vaccinations. Since all the vaccinations, whether in government centers or in private centers, are recorded on CoWIN, and all vaccine supplies and their utilizations are therefore monitored through the data available on CoWIN. Also, the system also captures the vaccine wastages, and therefore vaccine delivery efficiencies in terms of wastages is also monitored through the CoWIN system. The system has been architected in a way that it is evolvable, given the evolving nature of the pandemic. The response has also been evolving, and accordingly, the vaccination strategy has also undergone repeated improvements. And to respond to that, the architecture has completely been application program interface based, that is API based, and is flexible and is modular, so that it can respond to the changing policy needs, changing policy needs in terms of vaccination. It also enables quick feedback, based on which analytical tools are also available in the system, so that we can inform policy better in terms of data-driven policies. It also has provisions for reporting of adverse events and following thereof. As I said, it's a modular system, so it consists of 4 basic building blocks. These are registration and scheduling, vaccination facilities, so the vaccination centers. Happy to report that more than 200,000 vaccination centers are currently registered on the CoWIN system, out of which approximately 18,000 are private centers and more than 180,000 centers are government centers. It also has a full module for vaccination, wherein we have vaccine schedule publications, vaccination event recording, and finally the 4th module, which is certification module. The whole system is modular in design and is completely based on application program interfaces, as I said, and it also enables third-party applications to also feed into the CoWIN system. Next. Yeah. As I said, the CoWIN offers the APIs, and Umang and Arogya Setu, these are the 2 mobile applications which offer registration facilities to the citizens. all the APIs are published in public domain. There are a few restricted APIs for that also. The API policies and all the framework and facilitating arrangements are in place for third-party applications to also integrate with CoWIN. We have multiple modes of registration for the citizens. We offer online registrations, on-site registrations where registrations are actually done by the vaccinators, and therefore the citizens' knowledge of internet or use of web interfaces is not necessary. Wherever we have this barrier, the vaccinator facilitates and records all the information in the system. We also have an assisted mode of registration wherein through a call center, the people are registered on the portal. We have vaccination and facilities APIs. So as I said, more than 200,000 facilities are currently registered as vaccination centers on CoWIN. These facilities record vaccination data on the basis of which digital certificates are generated. And we also offer through these APIs reporting of adverse events following immunization. We have a full-fledged certificates APIs which enable verification of these certificates through third-party agencies such as travel and airlines offices. Even immigration officials can verify the genuinity of a vaccination certificate using the certificates APIs. We also offer through the certification APIs the facility for the citizens to download their certificates wherever and whenever required. Next. As I said, for the citizens, next please. For the citizens, there are 3 modes of registration. We offer the portal in 12 languages. We've also shortlisted 9 photo identity cards, which have the name, the gender, the age, and the photograph of the beneficiary. These are the minimal details that we seek at the time of registration. And on the basis of these, we offer the online registration, the on-site registration, and also assisted registration through the call centers. Next. This is how a typical appointment screen looks like when a person wants to book a vaccination appointment. He can search for the appointments, the vaccination centers offering vaccination services on various dates by searching on the PIN code, that's the zip code, or searching by the district. We also have now a feature of search on maps, so people can find nearest vaccination centers to their location. And a full calendar of vaccination schedule is published by each of the vaccination centers, which is then visible here in the appointment screen based on the search parameters given by the beneficiaries. Next. This is how the beneficiary's own dashboard looks like when he logs in using his or her mobile number. So as you can see, the beneficiary can register. After registration in one account with one mobile number, up to 4 citizens can be registered. From this account, online appointments can be booked, digital certificates can be downloaded, and we have also recently introduced the features for correction of errors on account of data entry errors by vaccinators to further refine the certificates. We've also provided now a feature for inclusion of passport number in the vaccination certificate to facilitate international travel for the citizens. Next. As I said, multiple modes of registration, simplified access, and we take very minimal data, being fully cognizant of the issues related with privacy and security of personal data. So therefore, very minimum information is taken, and this information is also kept in a very secure environment. It's not shared with anybody and is only used for the purpose of vaccination. Next. For the vaccinators, because they are our main stakeholders in these modules, what we have is the facility for registration of vaccination centers. This is done by the district immunization officers, where we gather the basic information about the vaccination centers in terms of whether it is a government center or a private center. There are further classifications and subtypes based on our own reporting and monitoring requirements. We also capture the details of the contact person and the phone number, plus the latitude and the longitude of the vaccination center, which then enables us to provide the citizens the feature for searching the nearest vaccination center based on maps and their current locations. Next. In terms of the vaccinator module, keeping in mind the literacy levels of the vaccinators, who basically are frontline health workers, and fully understanding that the frontline health workers may not be proficient with use of web-based interfaces. We have kept our vaccinator interface very, very simple and very, very minimal. We just, and even though it is minimal, we provide verification modalities based on the Aadhaar or any of the other 8 identity cards, and the vaccinator then verifies the identity of a person and records the vaccination. Once the vaccinator records the vaccination, then immediately an SMS also is sent to the beneficiary confirming that a vaccine dose has been administered. And in that SMS, we also provide a link through which the beneficiary can have access to his digital certificate. Next. In terms of sessions and vaccination planning, the system offers a very flexible tool to the planners. In our case, the district immunization officers who plan vaccination sessions. They can have flexible timings. They can have sessions for various age groups. They can also have near to home vaccination sessions. They can organize sessions even for persons without any identity card. They also have the feature for publishing a session with exclusively online slots or on-site slots or a combination of both. And the system also offers the DIO the tool to prioritize second dose vaccination, because the system offers the DIO the facility that they can, if required, exclusively reserve the full session for a second dose as a second dose administration session. So it offers a very, very flexible tool to the planners, so they can plan as per the vaccine availability, and they can also prioritize in terms of geographical spreads, in terms of focusing on districts with high COVID caseload, etc. Next. In terms of the process flow, it's fairly simple. As I said, the district administrator, that is the DIO in our case, registers the vaccination centers. He can edit the details of the centers. He'll create the vaccination sessions. He can edit or delete the sessions, reschedule the sessions depending on the context and the scenario. He also has the capacity and the flexibility to edit capacities of an ongoing session. So if for some reason there are more people land up for vaccination and vaccine is available, then the session parameters can be suitably modified so that people don't have to be returned if the vaccines are available. All the sessions, all the data is available on dashboards to the national planners, to the state administrators, to the district administrators, and all the other stakeholders. Next. For the policymakers, apart from a dedicated report section, which is available for reports according to India's context, where we monitor what is the extent of centers participating, how many centers are active, how many centers are offering these services, what are the capacities published, how much of that is utilized, and we do it on a daily basis in terms of using that data to further improve efficiencies. And just to share, the data available on CoWIN is the only data that is used for either reviewing the performance of vaccination with the states or for or for putting data in public domain for information of people. We also offer a citizens dashboard where we provide the information such as how many centers are offering services, what is the number of citizens that have registered, how many vaccine doses have been administered, how many first doses, how many second doses, how many instances and what percentage of cases have exhibited instances of adverse events following immunization, what is their distribution, state or district wise, what is the split of vaccination by age and gender, and what is the split of vaccination by the type of vaccines. Currently, we are using 3 vaccines, Covaxin, Covishield, and Sputnik V. And the system is fairly modular. As and when newer vaccines come, we are able to immediately add the vaccines in the system so that the software or the technology doesn't become a barrier itself. Next. This is a slight repetition, but I would, even at the cost of repetition, like to again repeat this. So CoWIN, it's important that a digital solution has to be a single source of truth. And therefore, we have been following this policy. I'm happy to share that over a period of last 5.5 months, now we do not have instances of offline vaccinations being done or the stakeholders coming back to us telling us that we were not able to record our data, and therefore, please allow us to upload the data and things like that. Almost 100% of our vaccination is now being recorded in real time on CoWIN. And that has come about because we offer a very simple user interface, which the users can immediately operate. And as you may recall, Honorable Health Minister said in his speech, in a single day, we were able to record 9 million doses. And I'm rather proud to say that during the whole day, we never witnessed any complaints from fields that the system has become slow or it is not responding, and therefore we will do some entry later on, etc., etc. So what I mean to say is that because the system is scalable, it's flexible, it offers an easy interface, we have been able to develop a system which does act as a single source of truth. We have an efficient way of tracking certificates. We now also have provisions for corrections and errors in certificates. And we also provide a digital verification app for third parties to verify the genuinity of the digital certificates that we issue. We have latitudes, longitudes of the vaccination centers to see the extent and the spread of vaccination. Our platform ensures inclusivity. I'm also happy to share that in our vaccination experience so far in the 5.5 months, almost 70% of our vaccination centers are located in rural areas. Our vaccination coverages in tribal areas are better than that at the national level. So the number of people vaccinated per million population in the tribal areas, which typically are the remotest parts of the country, is better than what it is at the national level. In terms of the gender split of vaccination, it's more or less the same as the gender ratio at the national level. And so we over a period of time, we have been able to develop a system which not only ensures digital recording of events, but also makes sure that nobody gets left behind. And in all scenarios, in all circumstances, the system is able to record vaccination. And in order to take care of the challenge of lack of internet connectivity in certain areas, what we have is a system where a session can be planned online, published online, but the vaccination can still be administered. That it is not necessary that the data is recorded at that very time. So we keep a vaccination session open till 5 p.m. next day. And that's the only leeway we provide in the system for past data entries. And that has helped us to make sure that even in the remotest parts of the country, vaccination is done and then it is recorded in the system. And therefore, we have a complete picture of the status of vaccination in the country. This is in terms of the timelines. So on the 16th of January, we launched the vaccination drive. The second version of CoWIN was released on the 28th of February. Then from the 1st of March, we included citizens in the coverage. On the 28th of April, we released the third version, so to say. When we started on the 1st of May, the vaccination of all adult citizens. And we're now working on the later versions. I'm also happy to report that on the first day of the launch of the third version, as Secretary Health pointed out in his speech, we were able to register more than 13 million citizens in a span of 8 hours. And at that point of time also, we didn't get any of the concerns in terms of the system slowing down or something like that. In terms of the statistics, this is slightly dated. We have around 361 million registered users, 350 million doses. AEFIs have been very minimal, and this is a cause of concern. We're working to improve on it. We have now more than 200,000 vaccination centers. Next. This is a system which has been developed in record period of time. Within a period of 4 months, we could have more than 200 million registered users. Our system is robust. We are able to take and record around 3.1 billion visits every day. We've handled 13.7 million registrations, as I said, on 28th of April, within the 8 hours of opening. And all our data that we collect very minimal data, but all the data that we collect is kept secure. And we use that data only for the purpose of vaccination. Next. Thank you so much for your attention. And I'd be more than happy to clarify any questions or any points that may come up. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking us to the journey of CoWIN. It truly is incredibly inspiring. I now welcome Shri Pramod Verma, Chief Architect, Unique Identification Authority of India and India Stack, to throw some insights on the CoWIN architecture. Shri Pramod Verma is the Chief Technology Officer of EkStep, a not-for-profit creating learning-centric, technology-enabled platform aiming to provide learning opportunities to 200 million children in India. In addition, he continues to be the Chief Architect of Aadhaar from the founding days. He is also the architect of various India Stack layers such as e-sign, digital locker, and unified payment interface (UPI), all of which are now working at population scale in India. Over to you, Shri Pramod Verma, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me.
So we can hear you now.
Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Ministers, and dignitaries around the world, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for the opportunity. I am honored to present India's digital journey and a better understanding of what it takes to build population scale systems that enables massive digital transformation across many sectors, and today being one of them. And I will spend about 15 minutes explaining to you. I am very sure there are detailed question and answer session later as well on the technology side. Thank you. So India is, again, just to recap, it's a very, very large and diverse country. And we are diverse in every way, but we are also digitally very, very connected. And we have been impressively growing. And you heard Dr. Sharma talking about our the largest internet penetration probably around the world. And people are aspirational. India is very young, aspirational, and want to access products, services, access to capital from formal systems. But unfortunately, many times what happens is only the top 10% or 15% of the country has access to formal system. And this is primarily coming due to various frictions that gets created in the system. And we have been systematically unbundling and removing in India through a set of digital infrastructure as part of Digital India initiatives. And the primary costs of these friction creators are cost of acquisition, the KYC cost, know your customer cost, compliance cost, subsequently transaction cost, paperwork, physical transaction, the cost of engagement, what's called cost of engagement. And of course, cost of trust. And that's very, very high because no credible data. So a small SME cannot get a lending offer from a bank because there's no credible data about that SME. India has been very systematically analyzing this, how to create access, affordability, and agency at scale. And how do you create innovation, platforms that allow diverse innovation on top? Because one solution doesn't fit all. We must enable diversity, but in a unified manner. And that's what essence of Digital India is all about. And this is this cost structure is one of the reasons why back in 2008, and this, you would be very surprised, and this 12 years, last 10 years, if you look back, the decade has been tremendous for India. We were under 20% penetration in banking a decade ago. Most people had no access to a savings product or lending product from the financial sector. India is also very much, subsidy. We have a large subsidy program, $50 billion around subsidy programs sent to, 900 million adults. So half of that, about 400, 500 million people are recipients of this. And traditionally, these were sent in a very multi-layered supply chain, creating enormous leakage and inefficiencies in the system. These were haunting us, and India needed non-linear or different mechanism to ensure that we solve this in a very rapid fashion and not taking time. But what is interesting, this was just a decade ago. 1 decade later, that's today. We were in 2011, we were sub 20%. And this is a study from BIS, Bureau of International Settlements, Central Bank of Central Banks, published in December 2020, saying India was under 20% banking inclusion in 2011. And we would have taken 46 years normally to achieve 80% of financial inclusion. And that's 4.5 decades of development India would have taken. But India merely took 6 years. And this is an amazing achievement, right? Compressing at the development cycles of multiple decades or development cycle using the underlying digital infrastructure, policies, and from the top, from Prime Minister onwards, the missions that are driving this inclusive agenda. And that's extremely important to align that. At the same time, we also moved our $50 billion, and most of it, 35, these numbers may be slightly outdated now, more than $35 billion now go directly. And India runs world's largest direct cash transfer program. And our instant money transfer, Dr. Sharma again alluded to UPI and so on, is the lowest cost money transfer system, most interoperable system in the world. And 650 million people can receive. And during COVID, this really came in handy for India to be able to transfer subsidies to when the lockdown happened, for example, just money directly to the bank accounts of people. And it's not only we are directly depositing, the banking is now available at the doorstep. And that's very, very, very powerfully inclusive and compressing the development cycle. This would not have happened just because of technology. And technology is only one aspect of it. It has political will, proactive measures by the government and regulators in terms of policy, and of course, an underlying unified digital infra. And the digital infrastructure itself is important that India did not try to build specific solutions to banking or savings or, like with specific, food distribution and so on. Before that, we laid the digital infrastructure. And the laying the digital infrastructure, known as part of Digital India, traditionally known as India Stack, necessitated that we create these Lego blocks or building blocks that are unbundled, but they are combinable. So you can combine them to create combinatorial effects and many, many solutions that are actually unimaginable. And that is exactly the reason why we are able to compress the decade-long development cycle to less than a decade and make non-linear change in the system. And we started all this with identity. Identity infrastructure is pivotal. Identity and registry infrastructures are very, very pivotal. Electronic identity and electronic registries. And we had people identity, Aadhaar, very well-known system. PAN as the company identity, GSTN as establishment identity, all digitally verifiable, digital enabled through digital platforms. And the number of transactions that are not small. And that actually shows that these are not merely a story, these are everyday used and adopted in the country. But these Aadhaar by itself is merely a building block. All it does is minimal identity and issuance and verification. What do you do with Aadhaar matters more. And that was left to the ecosystem of government services, and ecosystem of financial services, ecosystem of health and private services that allow leveraging of this building block to create more value add for citizens at the end of the day. And then we also created data layers. The data layer is one of the absolutely probably unique in the world, what we call digital data empowerment and protection architecture. And this is now getting enshrined into the Data Protection Act, Protection Bill, that's called DIPA, that enables access by data of every citizen in the control of the citizens. And that's very, very powerful. That is neither in the control of large companies, is not getting locked out. Instead, everyone gets to access their own data in a digital, machine-readable, and verifiable fashion. Why is it important? I talked about cost of trust. Cost of trust must be dramatically reduced. And that comes from, we have built DIPA, then DigiLocker for electronic credentialing, account aggregator for financial data empowerment, and in the health case, which we are talking today, is the personal healthcare record and health credential, which is a COVID vaccination credential, as an example, is of a health credential, given back in a verifiable fashion to the citizens. And of course, a layers of what we call transactional layer. Why is it? Because cost of transactions and cost of engagement must also be dramatically reduced and driven by digitally trustable systems that included many of the systems that actually allowed us in electronic signature like e-sign, Aadhaar-based payment, which is allowing banking at the doorstep, a UPI, which is universal payment or unified payment interface, which has 3 billion transactions in 5 years, from 0 to 3 billion transactions we are doing in India. Many of this, by the way, and many of this are made available as public goods as well. So it's very important. And CoWIN was one of the transaction engagement layer, which allowed a unified vaccination infrastructure. And that is among the many other Digital India initiatives we are doing, right? And if you look at the health stack per se, and coming down from a India stack to specific health, not only India built at the bottom layers of horizontal capabilities, we are also building layers of vertical capabilities that are meant for domain. Same thing is happening in skilling, education, agriculture, and so on. But today being health, the CoWIN day, I want to specifically talk a little bit about the health stack itself, which is also led by National Health Authority and the Health Ministry. And This goes from data layer, which has electronic registry, health registries, doctor registry, facility registry, vaccine and drug registries, and so on, in electronically verifiable fashion, personal healthcare records, vaccine credentialing, and most importantly, open data. It's important that countries go towards data-driven policymaking, data-driven monitoring, data-driven, agile, evolvable systems, and cannot be done in every 5 years. It has to be done literally live, given the complexity of the system. And that necessitates data to come out. And data-driven innovation, like AI, in the case of healthcare, we must bring data out. And that's exactly what is part of this data layer. And of course, the payments and claims. On top of that, we are enabling interaction layers, which one of them being unified testing and vaccination infrastructure, which is pretty much what we are talking about today. But not only that, we are also creating unified health and wellness infrastructure, pharmaceutical, medical infrastructure, and many more. Many more will in the pipeline for us to be able to design. And many of these are actually coming out as open source and digital public goods for all of you around the world to be able to leverage. And many of the application layers. And India is very, very open. So previous talked about open APIs. Why do we do open APIs? It's because we believe one solution doesn't fit everyone. We must have multilingual, multifaceted, physical, digital solutioning done by government and the ecosystem on top of a unified infrastructure. And that is why we have many apps. It's not one app problem for India. Many, many applications, many solutions will coexist on top of that unified infrastructure. And that is today, the specific talk was this part of healthcare. But you should watch out what India is going to be doing and announcing as many of our work as part of the health initiatives. And most of them are actually made open source and made as public goods. So it's important that you track it. And CoWIN high-level architecture is actually very, very, very modular. We talked about microservices architecture, but fundamentally has the 4 modules that are API-driven, microservices-driven, configurable system that goes from registration to vaccination, facility management, electronic registries for that, and actual vaccination transaction, and then certification. So it goes full life cycle of a vaccination. And by the way, CoWIN, while it is getting started as the vaccination for COVID, the infrastructure India is laying and the software and the infrastructure that is being dedicated today for the rest of the world can be used for a variety of other vaccination immunization drives. And you can watch that evolution happening on the software that allows configurable vaccination programs, immunization programs to drive beyond. And that sort of resilient infrastructure is necessary for every country. And India is also necessary. COVID showed us why is it important for us to be able to do it. But this infrastructure is not a one-time investment. It's an investment future. And that's important for us to understand. And all these modules are very, very connected to a secure, minimalistic data structures at the back, all made available through APIs into a variety of user interfaces spanning from portal-based, desktop-based user interfaces to mobile app-based interfaces to third-party apps on the left that actually allows to integrate with CoWIN from whether it's a private facility app or whether it's a consumer app, you can actually integrate seamlessly into CoWIN. And the principles by which, and that's very critical to understand the design principles behind CoWIN. It is built as an open system, it's built using open source and built using open standards. Fire compliance standards, W3C verifiable credential standards, compliant to WHO's vaccine credentialing standard. India has been always on the cutting edge adopting openness and open source. And not only we are adopting, we are also dedicating our work as open source today. It's inclusive. We talked about inclusivity. Inclusive is about physical, digital inclusivity. 300 million people have smartphones, or 400 million people. About another 300 million people in India has feature phone. And we still have about 300 million people, possibly about no phones. While we are extremely lucky to have a very, very powerful, deep broadband and connectivity penetration, we still have people who are disconnected. So the infrastructure like CoWIN must enable physical and digital, assisted and self-service. Not everybody can do it self-service. Not one language. We have 22 languages, so we are multilingual. So that inclusive design is very conscious thought, and that is designed into the system. And many of you in the other countries would need this as well, because it's not a uniform situation in any country. It's ecosystem driven. It's architected to allow ecosystem. Private healthcare providers, public healthcare providers, private consumer applications, DigiLocker kind of applications, or IATA like travel application internationally, to be able to actually connect. It's built for that ecosystem to coexist on this unified infrastructure. Completely data-driven. Not only data-driven doesn't mean individuals' data. Individuals' data is actually minimal. But the telemetry, the behavior of the system, ability to monitor, manage, and evolve policies based on the open data, that necessitates data-driven, because every quarter, every month, especially with COVID, we saw a changing scenario. How do you make policy changes unless you have data? So CoWIN creates that data stream, anonymized, but business intelligence data stream that allows not only system manageability, but also policy manageability. It is phygital, it's secure, very, very secure. It's built-in encryptions across end-to-end encryption, data encryption, digital signature. For example, our vaccine certificate, the QR code on the certificate, while it is printable for a person who has no phone, the verifiability is digital. It's digitally signed. That means non-tamperable. It's non-repudiable and authenticity verifiable. These are very careful design consideration from day one. CoWIN team has been doing. It's configurable. That is of essence to many of you. When we open source, I think we talked about having, we have taken advantage of Aadhaar, and we have taken advantage of other identity system in India. But when you use it, when you configure CoWIN for your sovereign needs, you can actually configure it the way you want. The workflows, registries, policies, and your own identity infrastructure in your system, in your country can be actually configured into the system. That's essential, because there is nothing that is specifically hard-coded in that sense for India. And privacy by design. Earlier, speakers talked about the minimalism of design, right for the individual to control their data, right for individual to be able to actually carry their data and make claims that I am vaccinated and so on. So privacy actually was a very critical essence of the design as well. And the technology is completely built on open source. So you can be assured that there is no vendor lock-in or no lock-in of any technology, and very, very popular, massively scalable technologies. And many of I don't want to go into specific, you have question answer. Many of these documentations are going to come out and on the website. So, but you can be assured this is being used at scale, reliably in India. So but it's built on open source that does not lock you in to any vendor technology. It's completely microservices based and manageable API based system, because again, because in your system, you will need to integrate with your supply chain. You will need to integrate with your hospitals and your app. And that necessitates this system to be API driven. And that is how exactly it is. And it is massively scalable. And you saw the numbers, right? 50 million plus people vaccinated in such record time, 1 billion hits on every day happening on the system. So you can for sure assured if India is using at the country scale, it is massively, massively scalable as well. And it is manageable and cloud native. It's built for cloud native, cloud agnostic from technology, most of the technology, but it's cloud native. It's built for the elasticity and high availability. So you can set up one or more data centers, you can set up multiple clusters, and it is actually, that's the reason why it is seamlessly scaling for us as well. So it's quite flexible for you. Many of this detailed document will come out for your technology teams. It is definitely security monitoring, security and privacy by design, and they are instrumented in the system. They're actually monitorable in the system. How the various security NOC operations and so on, network center and security center operations. It's completely data-driven. Not only system monitoring, but including the business monitoring. Every day, what happens, fully anonymized. It's not a personal data. Anonymized telemetry is built into the system. And that is why we are able to manage systems through data. A small team of people who are actually managing. And that team who's listening, congratulations to that team. And it's amazing, tireless work by the software engineering and the team who's built this very small team, but massively scalable, manageable at scale. So what did India do? Taking a step back, India could have done two things that many of the other countries do. Either build it all by ourselves. That means build entire vaccination infrastructure, run the whole vaccination infrastructure, run the campaign, build all the digital India assets by ourselves. Full end-to-end. What does it mean? End-to-end applications, including the actual application solutions. This is sort of an old way because one solution doesn't fit all, it will slow down. But alternatively, we have seen the West that instead of building, they sometimes outsource this to big tech companies. These are the two extremes you see. Either you build it all by yourself or you don't do anything at all. And then you end up creating monopolies, walled gardens, and so on. India has taken a very, very, very unique approach to this. And the world is noticing. And I encourage you to actually adopt what India has done. India is balancing the act of building interoperable digital public infrastructure, the underlying unified backbone for identity, backbone for payments, backbone for education, backbone for health, and so on. The backbone is not a full solution. They're actually minimalistic digital infrastructure. And on top of it, we build reference solutions, which are because affordable reference solutions by the government, but we also allow the market participants to innovate on top of it, startups to innovate. And that is why India has a vibrant ecosystem who are innovating on top of this. And that is what today is all about. The digital public goods, DPGs, and digital public infrastructure is distributing the ability to solve and compress development cycles, multi-decade development cycles in various domains into less than a decade. And India has definitely shown that way. And today, CoWIN is the latest addition to that digital public good. And congratulations to the entire team of CoWIN who has actually managed to do this and dedicating. And this is one among many that India is contributing to the world. India has always been a knowledge contributor to the world. And I can't be more delighted today that saying that CoWIN is actually joining that. And I encourage all of you to build your own sovereign infrastructure, digital infrastructure that creates your resilience in your country by leveraging the open source digital public goods. All of us are contributing. India is contributing. Many others are contributing. I encourage you to take on. Congratulations and all the very best to everyone in these difficult times, but I'm very sure we'll come out successful on the other end. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pramod. Thank you, sir, for sharing your knowledge and insights about the CoWIN architecture and the CoWIN design principles. May I now invite Dr. Vipul Agrawal, Deputy Chief Executive Officer, National Health Authority, to present the roadmap of sharing CoWIN. Dr. Vipul Agrawal is the Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the National Health Authority, mandated with the implementation of Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. He is a serving Indian Police Service officer. He's a medical doctor turned cop with experience of around 2 decades in the public service. Before joining National Health Authority, he served in the state of Gujarat as Director, National Rural Health Mission, Managing Director, Gujarat Medical Services Corporation Limited, along with other key responsibilities in civil and police administration. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Greetings to all dignitaries. The focus of my presentation would be on the benefits of CoWIN for policymakers and administrators. I would also elaborate upon the journey that would ensue post this conclave and how we share the CoWIN with other countries that may be interested. Yeah. Yeah, so for policymakers, achieving universal vaccination is not merely about the delivery of procured or manufactured vaccines to the people of the state. As it has been established by the esteemed speakers before me, it's a comprehensive task that is cyclical in nature. Besides inoculating people, as policymakers, we also need to constantly strategize the best media for distribution to ensure equitability and inclusivity. We need to constantly evaluate operations to reinforce these objectives and to timely do course corrections. So, what do the countries need for a mass-scale vaccination campaign? The first and the foremost is the system needs to be elastic and adaptable, which can constantly incorporate changes in a very convenient manner. Constantly, we have new vaccines coming, schedules are getting revised, so we need a dynamic and elastic system. At the same time, we should have a real-time observability, meaning thereby that everything should be recorded in real-time basis. Even the vaccine center should be able to see how the vaccine sites are performing, and admin should be able to view each session's progress and which age group, which doses have been assigned, etc. The system needs to be scalable so that it can be expanded in scope. It should also be scalable at the back end so that technology can accommodate that much of traffic. The system needs to be agile and responsive so that we need to be proactive and not always reactive to stay ahead of the curve. Otherwise, we'll be doing firefighting always. We need to have an interoperable system for having a campaign of this magnitude, as we cannot force everyone to use one technology. Everyone has already existing systems, so it may be counterproductive to ask others to adopt new technology. So we need systems that are talking to each other. That is the interoperability of the systems. We should have accountability for all stakeholders in such a system, so that the citizens have the confidence and there is an equitable distribution, and any fraud or abuse can be potentially prevented. System which is keeping everyone true. Finally, last but not the least, we should have the system should provide for last mile connectivity. We don't have a direct link to the people who are executing the strategy. The biggest disconnect comes in execution. So this reduces the effectiveness of the system. So last mile connectivity also becomes very important. To answer the question why CoWIN, I would take a cue from the needs we just discussed and reiterate how CoWIN plugs the gaps. CoWIN addresses almost all issues which we discussed in the previous slides. First and foremost is the lightweight technology, which basically is enabled by the architecture of CoWIN. We have not constructed complex systems here. Rather, the system is simple and dynamic. Everything is parameterized. Vaccination, scheduling, age group, all of these can be easily changed, added or removed. New vaccine coming, we just have to add features of adding new vaccine without taking any much time. And we won't have to revise the schedules also. The system, CoWIN provides a very interoperable system. And also, CoWIN provides a not-for-profit public utility which is available for free to all. The system provided by CoWIN is evolvable as we are constantly getting feedback. We are constantly evolving the systems as per the requirements. The system is adaptable and inclusive for other geographies and demographies also. We have kept a system for physical and digital registrations plus multilingual system so that it can accommodate all aspects to make it more inclusive. As of now, the system is providing interface in 12 Indian languages. The system should be scalable globally, and that is relevant for the today's session also. We are providing for an open and modular technology, which was earlier geocoded, but now we have opened the accessibility to other geographies also. So we have heard these numbers numerous times today. However, going by the times we are living in, it doesn't hurt to emphasize something good repeatedly. As we can see that we achieved 200 million vaccinations in 4 months and 300 million count in 5 months. And in the course of our vaccination drive, we have even hit 3.1 billion hits on 28th of April. And in May, we hit 2.6 billion mark, and almost every day we are crossing 1 billion. And these figures have already been explained. So, the CoWIN platform serves as a technological backbone of mass vaccination campaign in India. It provides a single source of truth for all stakeholders. It is formulated as a transparent system that allows tracking of each dose of vaccine supplied to the vaccination facilities and recording the fulfillment of demand at a granular level. CoWIN platform provides a personalized dashboard to vaccinators to view the performance at their facilities, ensuring accountability. And it also provides for a multilingual support for CoWIN portal and vaccine certificate. Last but not the least, the AEFI tracking is an important feature because we are able to map the adverse incidences and immediately take corrective measures. The concept of interoperability or open systems have often been shot down the world over, even before an idea was allowed to be seeded. However, in India, we have achieved this multiple times over. UPI or United Payments Interface is one such example wherein we are facilitating close to 2.7 billion transactions on a monthly basis. As highlighted before, CoWIN has been open by design. The current interest from the private sector to build on top of CoWIN is testament to this fact. So the CoWIN platform is being used through its open APIs by the state governments, by the hospitals and laboratories, travel companies, health tech companies. And so far as we can see on the slide, that of the 204 applications which have come to us, already 148 platforms and applications are in the process of getting integrated with CoWIN. Next. So now that we've understood why and how CoWIN can help us in vaccination efforts, let us discuss the next steps. In its endeavor to help the world achieve universal vaccination, the Government of India is excited to share its tech backbone for vaccination with the world. For all countries interested in using this platform, we are happy to open our platform to you to further build and modify on the basis of your needs. So CoWIN is available as a public utility for the world now, which you can customize and modify as per your requirements. And I must assure all the nations that we are taking extreme care to have the best data security protocols in place. And the nation which would be accepting this would have sovereign autonomy over the systems. Finally, you would be getting full flexibility to host the system either here or on your own platform in your nation. So this flexibility would be provided to whosoever gets into collaboration with us. Over the past couple of months, we have also worked extensively to document every aspect of CoWIN. We have developed comprehensive training and support material that would help ease the transition of CoWIN in your respective countries. We are also currently in the process of training and certifying the various agencies whose services may be availed as per your convenience. So to summarize things, this is a simple 7-step process that may be followed for you to implement the CoWIN in your country. In the first step, you will have to reach out to us through the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India. And once you show your interest, we'll arrange for a detailed demo of CoWIN platform with you. And after this step, if you are interested, we'll sign an MOU with you. And the further processes would have to be taken up by the interested country with the support of technical agencies, which we would be empaneling. So you'll be given a flexibility either to do it yourself or through the support of the technical agency, wherein the requirement detailing would happen and the development and customization as per local requirement would take place. After testing and demo, the platform would go live in your countries. Thank you. So that's it from our side. Thank you very much.
Thank you a lot, sir. Thank you for sharing the roadmap for CoWIN with all of us. Having a well-defined roadmap will definitely pave way for the easy adoption of CoWIN by the countries. I now invite Dr. Praveen Gedam, Mission Director, National Digital Health Mission and Additional Chief Executive Officer, National Health Authority, to speak about the National Digital Health Mission, India's digital health programs. Dr. Praveen Gedam, an Indian Administrative Service Officer, is currently serving as the Additional Chief Executive Officer of the National Health Authority and the Mission Director of National Digital Health Mission. A career bureaucrat, sir is also a qualified doctor. Many initiatives and best practices developed and implemented by sir have been scaled up as policies at state and national levels. Over to you, sir.
Namaskar and welcome to all dignitaries and the guests. After the session on CoWIN, I shall take this opportunity to briefly explain the upcoming Digital Health Initiative of India encompassing all the areas of healthcare, that is National Digital Health Mission. Through digital health, we aim to effectively use IT to improve the quality of healthcare, improve access to affordable care and health outcomes. India, an IT powerhouse, has started implementation of the National Digital Health Mission with a vision to create national digital health ecosystem that supports universal health coverage in an efficient, accessible, inclusive, affordable, timely, and safe manner. The implementation follows certain fundamental principles such as open APIs and interoperability, federated architecture, and privacy and security by design. India has made significant progress. Go back slide. India has made significant progress in ensuring digital connectivity with over 96% of villages covered. India has more than 1 billion mobile subscribers, more than 12 GB data usage per person per month, and over 8 billion GB data consumption per month, the highest in the world. Backslide. In addition to these, certain digital public goods such as Aadhaar, UPI, and DigiLocker, all of them having clocked billions of transactions, uniquely place India to roll out a mission as big as this one. Recent success stories of digital health initiatives like CoWIN, Arogya Setu, and eSanjeevani have shown that India can achieve this mammoth task with ease. Before we move to the architecture and stack, let us see a couple of use cases of CoWIN, of NDHM. CoWIN is already integrated with NDHM and is being used to digitally identify citizens during COVID vaccination. We will soon be able to see NDHM platform being used by those not having immediate physical access to healthcare. Take the case of a villager not having a specialist doctor in the vicinity. He will be able to connect to a specialist in a metro city and take his consultation. Now you may ask, what is so special about this? The unique feature of this is interoperability, which I will explain after explaining the stack in brief. As described in the presentation on the India stack, NDHM rides on the India's common digital public goods, such as the famous JAM Trinity of India, covering Jan Dhan bank account, Aadhaar, and mobiles. It also includes other innovations like Unified Payment Interface, e-sign, and Consent Artifact. These are generic building blocks and can be used for any sector, including health. On the top of this base layer, we have a health data layer consisting of registries, standards, etc. Over these, there will be APIs for various services and features, which will be exposed to the top layer of various user applications developed by public and private sector. This will create a network of all players in the ecosystem, including hospitals and doctors for all systems of medicine and specialties. It will also include related players such as yoga practitioners and ambulance service providers, which can be, and this platform can be used for searching, booking, and availing these services. However, unlike platform-centric model, which we can see in the world of e-commerce, NDHM shall use open protocols so that two different solutions of two different providers can speak with each other. This will improve the choice of consumers and prevent the creation of monopolies. Core building blocks, including the three main registries, will serve as a single source of truth of data, facilitating reference applications such as personal health record or telemedicine solution to connect with each other. Thus, entities creating or generating health records like doctors and labs can link these to Health ID. These records can then be accessed after consent taken on a digital platform by those who are intending to view them, such as other doctors and hospitals. This universal health interface will benefit all the stakeholders. Citizens shall have better access to healthcare and better choice of providers at competing prices. It shall be possible to discover and get connected to doctors, including GPs from anywhere in India and going forward even from abroad. Doctors will have access to complete medical history in the form of longitudinal health record from all service providers, all healthcare providers, of course with the consent of the patient. Pharmacies and laboratories, including small neighborhood establishments, will be easily discoverable, improving their business opportunities and ease of creating and sharing records. Due to reliable registries, health tech companies and startups can now focus solely on innovation, leading to availability of wider options for users. To sum up, The ecosystem will provide longitudinal health records to patients and healthcare providers. It will streamline the implementation of various health programs with effective dovetailing of resources. It can improve preventive care, and monitoring of health indicators will be easier thanks to big data. Today, at this global platform, we can start discussing about possibilities of international collaboration. One can discuss about various options such as international telemedicine facilities in which Indian doctors, including Ayurveda and yoga practitioners, can provide healthcare to patients abroad, and Indian patients can also benefit from doctors outside India. Various companies can also consider participating in the tech side to provide better and innovative solutions in compliance with the relevant regulations. International health records, including increasingly important vaccination reports, can help to create longitudinal health records which should be acceptable internationally. International health insurance can also be strengthened, ensuring seamless access to healthcare across borders. Nation can also benefit from this initiative as global public health is the new area of concern. Standardized data, compiled, aggregated, and anonymized, can be used to monitor global public health, and such data can also be used effectively for research and development. While today we are gathered here to explore possibilities of adopting CoWIN for your respective vaccination program, I hope we can also begin discussions to explore partnerships in the larger domain of digital health initiatives in the near future. I understand that I have tried to explain an extremely complex system in a matter of few minutes. Should you have any queries, you can ask these during question and answer session. As the world is grappling with the devastating pandemic, in the end, I would like to convey our solidarity with all the countries by quoting an ancient Sanskrit verse. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kashchit dukkha bhag bhave, Om shanti shanti shanti. May all be happy, may all be free from illness, may all see what is auspicious, may no one suffer. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot. NDHM provides the necessary backbone to support the integrated digital health infrastructure of the country. I now request Sri Vikram, Joint Director, National Health Authority, to conclude this technical session with a formal vote of thanks. Sri Vikram, an Indian Revenue Service Officer, currently working as Joint Director, Coordination, National Digital Health Mission at NHA. In his career spanning over a decade, he has held key responsibilities in tax administration of the country. Over to you, sir.
Respected Dr. Harshvardhan Sir, Honorable Minister of Health and Family Welfare, Shri H.V. Shringla Sir, Foreign Secretary, Government of India, Shri Rajesh Bhushan Sir, Secretary, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Shri R.S. Sharma Sir, Chairman, Empowered Group on Technology and Data Management and CEO, National Health Authority, distinguished dignitaries and other participants of the conclave. It is my honor and privilege now to give a vote of thanks to all the dignitaries present here, and particularly our speakers, Shri Vikashshil Sir, Shri Praveen Gedam Sir, Shri Vipul Agarwal Sir, and Pramod Verma Sir. Both the technical sessions were enriching. It was rightly said by Thomas Fuller, an eminent English historian, all things are difficult before they are easy. When we look at the technical sessions on CoWIN, we can see the extent of the Herculean efforts and deliberations that are needed to roll out a successful software. What struck me particularly in the CoWIN sessions is that the ability of CoWIN to plug additional features seamlessly. For example, adding the Sputnik vaccine slot so swiftly and its completely agile design. Similarly, as the professor pointed out, NDHM, the National Digital Health Mission, won't be built in a day, but India is uniquely placed to roll it out. It is an ambitious project, and we hope that it will provide the ability to the common man of India to access his health records longitudinally at no cost, improve preventive care, and help us make evidence-backed health/economic policies. We understand that this session has helped in augmenting our understanding about the CoWIN platform which can be used across the globe for CoWIN vaccination, as well as about our ambitious national digital health mission. We look forward to work with all interested countries to combat COVID-19 by vaccinating their population through CoWIN platform, which is now a digital public good rolled out for public welfare. Thank you everyone for taking the time to be here today and for listening to us so patiently. I wish to especially thank her and His Excellencies who have joined us from across the globe. Have a great week. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir. We will now begin the Q&A session, which will be moderated by Mr. Thampi Koshi, partner in the consultancy firm Ernst & Young. We will have a continuous session wherein the first half of the session will be dedicated to questions related to CoWIN, and the next half will be dedicated to questions related to the NDHM. Over to you, Mr. Koshi.
Differently.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. Can you hear me? Avril, can you hear me?
Yeah, Koshi, you
Global Conclave on CoWIN. For the past 2 hours, we have listened to our leaders explaining the digital health initiative that India is taking and our plan and our willingness and interest to make this stupendous CoWIN platform available as a digital public good to any countries who may want to use it for their purposes. Now that we have gone through a detailed presentation, this is a time for any questions for you to raise that we could answer. So let me just share some hygiene factors how to address this question answer session. If there is any question that you would like to take up with us, please raise it in the Q&A part of the Zoom platform and not in the chat. And then we will take up each of these questions and we will address that. If there is some of the members of the delegates would like to raise the questions in any of the 6 languages that is for which we have translation available, that is also welcome. My colleagues will make arrangement for it to be translated and made available for me. So to one request I would like to make to you is that whenever you write a question, after the question, please write your name, your organization, and the country from which you come from, and most importantly, your email ID. Because we intend to share with you the answers of the questions that has been addressed today, and some of the questions that have not been also answered because of the time availability. As you heard my colleagues explaining that we have planned for about 1 hour of question and answer session, of which the major part will be taken up for CoWIN and the remaining part would be taken up for the NDHM part of it. So if you are unable to answer any of the question that is raised today, or if some of the answers have been too limited, we will arrange to send you the answers to all the questions. So to begin with, I will highlighting some of the questions that were already raised, and that will be answered by my esteemed panelists who are present here. We have from the CoWIN team, Mr. Devaprabha Naik from NEGD, Mr. Chalukya Mohanraj from Trigen, and Mr. Vikas Tiwari from Amazon Web Services available with us to answer any queries with respect to CoWIN. And and after we take up the questions on CoWIN, we will arrange to have the questions related to NDHM. And there we will have our Dr. Praveen Kadam, additional CEO, and Abhishek Kumar, Executive Director, available to answer any of the questions. So while you are probably placing your questions onto the on the Q&A platform, let me try to get you answers to some of the questions that has already been raised. The first question that was raised was that, can you make this certificate that is already generated available in any of the third-party applications, travel applications, so that it can be used to prove during their travel anywhere in the world? So, Mr. Naik, would you just explain how this can be a verifiable, this certificate generator can be verified by multiple applications anywhere in the world?
I think that API is available, also that we are providing the verification services through our portal, so that you can, who wants to verify, they can verify using our either APIs, or they can use the console services to verify the certificates.
There is a popular demand that I can see in the question and the session, that whether we will be sharing the Q&A, sharing the text that had been used for the presentation. And our team has explained that they will they will make it available to all of you, maybe as a part of in our website, with our links being provided for you to enable for easily download. Mr. Naik, the next question that is coming to you is, will you be sharing the source code also of this platform that will help us to do customization beyond the configuration that you have provided for?
I think that code will be open to the countries. Those are being with the MOUs, and definitely they can do whatever they want. They can add their own modules. We are having the basic set of the APIs. They can add whatever they want to do. That code base will be the countries. I think that will be open to the code base will be open to the particular country.
So, do we have to sign any licensing agreement or any other agreement with the government of India to make use of this software, or is it available as an open source software?
No, that it will not be open to the public. It will be open to the particular country.
Okay. Can we also arrange to have some system integrators from our country to do the customization? So, and will you arrange to give them some training on the platform that you've developed, so that they can do an effective customization for us?
We are open to that. I think that any companies are interested, they definitely show their interest, and definitely the technical team will arrange a technical session with them.
Are you also planning to make available a panel of system integrators from whom we can choose if we do not have any such integrators in our country?
We are open to that. Let's have that any companies or any SIs are being interested to work with us, and we are open to that
also. I understand that this is a very evolving software. Will you be making any software upgrades that you make? Will you continuously making it available for our usages if we decide to use that?
We'll continue to do that. If there is a new versions will come up in the Indian version, and also that we can either co-merge with the international version, either vice versa. If something is good happening in the international version, then we'll merge with the Indian versions also.
Will you does it provide how extensive analytics module have you provided with the CoWIN application for us to make extensive data analytics on the data that is being available, and to what extent of granularity you database all the events that takes place from registration?
Okay, that except personal data, that identity, that others granularity is there to have the analytics top of it. Yes, for the Indian context, we have the extensive already the dashboard having the extensive analytics. If any country wants to build top of that also, they can build it.
Do you have a deduplication facility available in the system that if same person tried to register multiple times, will you take care of that?
It is right now available as a part of any ID or the person being using that. I think we are making it as a mobile number, name, date of birth, gender, as well as the ID card. So in the current system, yes, the mobile allows the 4 persons to be registered, but in the ID card basis, we can uniquely identify that the deduplication should be stopped from that basis.
Do we have can you just describe how does the verification process of the vaccine certificate operate?
Okay, that are the APIs are all available. That is the APIs are available whether the person is vaccinated or not, that we are providing as a part of CoWIN. Plus then the vaccination module also, if there is a printable certificates, you can verify through the QR scanners. If you don't use the APIs or something, then you can also verify through our console program that the scanning through our any desktop or mobile having the cameras, so you can scan that and you can verify the certificates.
You know, sir, do we have we might have already initiated many of our vaccination program, and many of the data may be already available in the system. Will CoWIN allow for upload of historical data if we take it up later?
It provides that the new
how do we handle
that the new vaccinator modules, we allow that as a part of, if you have vaccinated, they can upload to the systems, and that can be certificate can be generated on the basis of their vaccination. Some parameters we are taking, and on the basis of that, certificate can be generated and verified.
There is somebody has raised the hand. Is there? Okay. And there is, one of the question that was raised. I'm interested to see how you would address an ecosystem that is technology handicapped, poor network coverage, limited access to internet, and so on and so forth, and low utilization of smartphone. Can you just explain how you have addressed these challenges in your country with a digital platform like this?
I think they can build only the digital database. They can upload their data, whatever the way. I think they can only use the one module. They can build a digital database. Most probably they may not require to do a registration, online registration, other things, but they can do something backlog data. They can enter into the systems and create a digital database of the vaccination program.
Have you also, is it also, there's a question from the Vietnam embassy. How can we get this application made available to us? Earlier in the presentation, we had actually given a detailed procedure of how to get this application available to you. In terms of the first step that was explained was that you should contact our embassy available in your country, and then they will contact our, the ministry here, who will arrange for a MOU. And after that, all these things can happen pretty fast. Then we can make available the whole, based on the agreement, we can available for the code set and the application. So you just need to contact our, the Ministry of External Affairs or the embassy locally available. I think then these things can get moving on that. Do you have any unique identity you consider to identify duplicate registration? How do you do you give a unique identity to all the people who are coming in for registering themselves?
Yeah, true. We are providing a registration ID. Those are registering into our systems.
We have a question from the Republic of Congo. Would like to know the cost of sandholding support from India if it wants to use this platform. Earlier we explained to you, If there is any clarification or support needed, they can reach across to us. And plus, we have also we will be empaneling a number of service providers who will be able to extend extensive services with whom you will be able to directly negotiate and fix up a charge. And in case you would like to, as it was explained earlier, Mr. Nayak, in case if there is any system integrators or software developers in your country who have already will like to do this integration by themselves, you could reach across to us. Reach across to us and we will give them the training. It's a very, very important question that has come, is that is the data stored on a cloud or the country can utilize their own system?
It is a purely designed for the clouds. Anybody can take the cloud service provider self and they can deploy our applications. And also, if they are not willing to go for cloud, then the system needs to be customized for to deploy on premises.
Okay, so Mr. Naik, you are saying that if a country needs, they can do it, implement it their own data center, on-prem data center. They can have, or they can, if they are using any cloud services, they can have their own choice of cloud service provider under their conditions to use, so that it is not married to any particular cloud.
It is not marrying, but if it is the AWS, if it is the Amazon cloud services, it is easy. It is the template wise. They can move as a part of just a copy paste solutions. If that it is not AWS, then some customization will have to do for other cloud service providers. Yes, we are being into open architecture, open standards, and open source. So that is a little bit of customization required on the basis of if it is the Azure or Google clouds. Or if they go for a on-premises, then they have to do some customization for that.
We have a question from Mr. Felix from Central PEV of Congo, saying that can we already have an existing platform? Can we migrate our existing data? Mr. Naik has already explained that that is a facility through API will be made available, so that you will not lose any data. Is there anything further thing that would you like to add, Mr. Naik?
No. They can straight away migrate the data that APIs are available. If there is only 8 fields data, they have to migrate to the CoWIN architecture. They can do either through a upload program or they can do straight away the migrate through API only.
We have a question from Ji Soon Song. It's asking that you had explained that this is has multiple modules. How the authenticity of the data ensured? Backend modification is allowed, I assume, from your answer on the possibility of loading existing vaccination record. His concern, Mr. Naik, is that if you are doing backend update of data, how are you ensuring authenticity of data?
Okay, that our certificate module that guarantees that whole authenticity of the data. Yes, the transaction models like vaccination or appointment or registration, that only a transactional way. Yes, that our certificate module gives the authenticity.
So if I just understand correctly, Mr. Naik, what you're saying is you have provided for backend upgrade of the transaction data under very strict authentication requirement that is trackable, auditable authentication mechanism. But the certificate data is immutable, irrevocable, and non-changeable. And so because of that, that data is, and every vaccination certificate data that is generated will be absolutely secure and stored in such a way that authenticity is ensured. Is that what you mean, Mr. Naik?
It's true.
Can we use only the program that we need? For example, the certificate module, or do we have to use a complete platform total?
No. It is totally module by module. If they want that, okay, they only require only vaccination module, or they only require the both to vaccination and certificate module, they can do. If they want that, okay, they want to registration and appointment, then vaccination, they can take a total, or they can take some modules like certificate, straight away they can take a certificate module directly also.
There is a question that came while rollout of vaccine in Africa is still quite dependent on Covaxin as well as stunted to a certain uncertainty raised by the reluctance of the EU to accept certain vaccines. Thus, reluctance for many in Africa to accept the vaccine itself. Could the Indian government help with the supply and government plan rollout? I think this is also certain policy implication with respect to the vaccine, and that is definitely something that we will, we'll have to take up with our health policy as well as the policy of international collaboration part of it. What we will do is that we would, give a more detailed answer on mail to you. Okay. Another question that came is, how do we provide for any rectification of discarding of any registration if person by mistake entered, some mistake at the time? Do you provide for cancellation of registration?
But recently we have added that the new module that is called the grievance or help desk module. They can raise an issue on the basis of the correction of their name or their identity, or they can update their identity card with the passport number. So there are the different modules on the basis of our knowledge, our experience we are adding to this. And that can be another module or another type of grievance will be definitely what the people are facing, and we will definitely modify that module to take care of these are the things.
Today, each country has COVID-19 vaccine platform. Is it possible that CoWIN incorporate these platforms incorporate all this national platform? What are the advantages and challenges if it is possible? Maybe they are asking, whether we can integrate with the existing platform, with that. So I will just add a point, and then, if they have a vaccination management platform and you want to use this migrated to CoWIN, it is possible. And as Mr. Naik explained, the very powerful certificate facility that is available, which is now internationally, recognized, is something of the functionality that will be a very, very useful for, especially when it comes to international acceptance and of the certificate issued by the authorities. Is the platform GDPR compliant? What are the means to ensure security, privacy of the data?
Mr. Koshi, I would like to add on this that this has been So this platform has been developed using the services which are all compliant for GDPR. So the underlying platform, the databases, the Kubernetes environment, they all are GDPR compliant.
And we do not store anything in cookies. So yeah, as rightly said by Vikas, we are GDPR compliant.
I think answering that, Koshi, your the first question that why that CoWIN is required or not by the other countries. I think we have built a platform that knowledge that it is a largely scalable platform, right? It is the 9 million vaccination in one day. So it is a largely, you looked at, is a much more scalable platform as well as modular also. That platform can be scaled to any type of vaccination in future. So that is why that we built it in such a way that API-based approach and that the third-party application providers, they can easily integrate with us. And now that in India, we looked at how many third-party application providers are being integrated with us. So that is why that either they looked at the architecture or they can take the knowledge from the CoWIN, how we built it, or they can take the application altogether.
Let me just also share with you while we had been trying to answer this question that is coming now. I'm sure when you think about it, there might be more questions coming. So we are making available extensive documentation of this platform. videos of how to use this platform. All this is going to be available, and after you express your interest, we will make all this complete set of documentation, videos, and support document available. And Mr. Naik, as Mr. Naik explained, if there is still any kind of hand-holding or support that is needed from our side, we will make arrangement for that. And we are also make available a panel of system integrators whom you can have enter into a contract on arrangement with them to give continuous support, as well as if you have your own software providers or system integrators taking this up in your country, we will provide necessary training and documentation for them. And that's a kind of support that we have provided. Let me also share with you that you have heard the presentation on National Digital Health Mission by our team from NHA, headed by Dr. R. Sharma, with additional CEO, Mr. Dr. Praveen Gadam, who has been here. So if there are any questions you would like to raise on that one with respect to that, we'll be happy to do. There are a couple of questions coming. Dr. Praveen Gadam will address. So before that, I'm sort of, waiting for a few seconds to see whether there are any particular question you would like to raise on CoWIN. Otherwise, as I said, if there is anything more, kindly send a question, raise your questions, and give from which organization and what your name is and your email ID. We will share that with you. Or when you come to our CoWIN landing page, you would see a particular in our portal. You would see particular pages giving you the details of how to contact us and how to get a variety of documents and product information available. So if there is no further questions on the CoWIN, may I request Dr. Praveen Gadam also being available for some questions on the NDHM.
Yes, Mr. Koshi, I hope I'm audible.
You have made a fantastic presentation of your vision of what you are going to develop as a national digital health mission and the digital infrastructure you will be building. The question is that, are you also developing, as you've done in terms of CoWIN platform, will you be developing a sort of large-scale platform or even digital components which also may be available in open source like you've done for CoWIN, for other countries to maybe learn from and adopt from?
Okay. So one has to understand the basic concept of NDHM. There are two major types of modules. One is core module, which will be owned, operated, and managed by the government of India. These will be unique. And these modules consist of registries, which provide single source of truth with respect to identity of a doctor, hospital, and a patient. Now, on the top of this, we will be allowing any number of applications which can ride on the top layer, if you remember that stack diagram. So what are the most important user applications that one can think of? It can be search of particular doctor or hospital based on certain parameters such as specialty, language, geographic location, and so on and so forth, and getting connected to that, and then seeking teleconsultation, selecting a medicine out of various options and getting it delivered, getting a lab facility. And also particularly for hospitals and laboratories, one can think of hospital management information systems, HMIS or HIMS, which will create records which will get linked with the health ID, enabling to pull record of a particular person from various different types of hospitals using different types of IT system. Now, these are the reference applications. we intend to create some of them, not all. And for rest of it, we expect that the vibrant IT industry of India will take the initiative and develop various innovative solutions as per the requirement of users. As far as government reference applications are concerned, we will be posting their information on the public forum so that people can also use them. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that is very valuable input, sir. The question, related question coming is that you said that you may be making some reference application. So that means that for the smaller hospitals and facilities who may not have their own digital sophistication, they will be able to make use of this reference application without any fee being paid to government, etc.
So we will be making reference applications either free or at minimal costs.
You explained about a possible international collaboration. It was a very interesting idea because the total digitization of the health is a big challenge, and we are all trying to fathom the way implication of this. So, are you thinking about some kind of a collaborative forum where many countries can participate and possibly do knowledge sharing on a periodic basis?
Yeah. So when it comes to international telemedicine platform, probably the most important element will come in the form of identifying the correct genuine doctor or healthcare provider. And this responsibility, as far as India is concerned, will be taken by Government of India. Every single doctor and hospital which you can see on the platform, that is MDHM, we will be verifying it that the person is actually a registered doctor with required qualifications before onboarding him on our platform. And that is how the patients getting connected from outside India will be able to have that element of trust. Now, when it comes to the reverse kind of scenario, when Indian patient wants to consult a doctor in any other country, the other country, we will be requesting them to provide similar kind of mechanism to ensure that the doctor who joins the platform is actually verified by certain entity or some authority, so that the person getting connected to him from any other country should be confident that he is talking to a doctor rather than anybody else. I can see more some more smaller complexities as we consider collaboration between different countries. One can be a language barrier, which can be overcome by necessary tools for translation or some assistance. I can also see an issue about availability of a particular type of drug or medicine, different names or brand names used in different countries, and that may require some case-to-case tweaking when it comes to two-nation connectivity through telemedicine, but it is perfectly doable. A lot of people are doing it even now through various modes, but what we plan to do is a sort of institutionalize this international telemedicine platform.
Are you creating a sort of longitudinal health record, integrating the data from multiple hospitals and labs and so on and so forth? In that case, how are you handling the permission, especially with taking care of the worries of privacy and so on and so forth?
See, I go back to one of my earlier slides of my presentation where I discussed the basic principle, that is federated architecture. Except for the core registries, nothing will be stored by the Government of India server. The data about health will reside where it is residing right now. What we are doing is only connecting all these different systems with each other. The data from hospital X will remain with whatever system that hospital X is using. Now, having said that, a patient, say Mr. A, his records are available in 3 different hospitals X, Y, Z. The records will continue to reside in these hospitals X, Y, Z. the patient will be able to pull the records in his mobile or in his laptop or in his tab, in his app, a locker or wallet, because of the unique identity that is health ID, and only he will be having that particular longitudinal medical history in his wallet or in his personal health record app. Now, when he goes to any other doctor for any consultation, then he can give access to his record digitally by various means, and that becomes available after consent to the doctor. So the question of compiling all the records at one place to create longitudinal medical history doesn't arise except for the purpose of health locker, which will be stored only on his mobile and not in any other system. So that is how the architecture is. And this ensures the privacy and confidentiality of very high level. Second, we have this element of electronic consent manager and health information exchange, which ensures that the data is shared only after the consent, and all the other necessary legal and technological tools which are required for ensuring the privacy and security, they are in place, and we are trying to make this system very, very confidential, private and secure.
Sir, you have explained in detail your vision as well as the strategy. Are these available in some sort of a public document that is we can access and understand, or
yes,
is it a confidential document?
I know certain policies pertaining to how we are ensuring security, etc. These are private, but most of the documents are in the public domain on our website, that is ndhm.gov.in. So anybody who is interested in understanding the further technicalities can go to the website and read whatever is there.
Sir, one thing that comes to my mind is that when you have such a powerful digital infrastructure, it is also opening up the possibilities of aggregation of data, for doing analytics and to sort of do policy making on one side, and possibly such data, if made available, if there is a possibility for data sharing for third parties, probably with certain security policies, it can also lead to a lot of medically relevant research to be done. Are this part of your larger strategy, and have you provided technological enablement for these elements?
Yes. So we don't want to have data without using it. Obviously, data is a new gold or new oil, as they say. So we will have this option of using data for research and development, for analytics, for monitoring and evaluation, open, but again with the consent of the patient. When his data is collected, that additional consent is taken, that this data will be used, number one. Number two, when it comes to policy making and such other purpose, we will be using only aggregated and anonymized data, which will take care of the privacy and confidentiality of the person, and it will be used only in that fashion so that relevant decisions in the public policy and public health can be taken.
Sir, are you using the open source tech stack as a building block for this elements and platform, or will you be using any other specialized software applications or platform?
Yes. So if we see general approach taken in NDHM, in general, our focus is on using open source stack. However, coming to some specific components or areas of tech where there may be issues related to availability of robust open source technology, only in those areas cost product option may be explored. So as a general principle, we are using open source products and technology only.
Now that you have thought about this integration, possible integration of the health records across the country, how are you seeing the response of the various private sector players and their comfort to be a part of this kind of a system where they are expected to share their data on the request of the beneficiary. Do you feel any kind of active support for that, or do you have any special policy interventions on that, sir?
We have an experimental space that is a sandbox for integration of various solutions, both from public and private sector, into the NDH ecosystem. And I am very happy to share that even during the pilot phase, even before the national launch, we have more than 400 public and private digital health solutions which are in the process of getting integrated. And I am very happy to share that the digital health industry and digital health solutions from both public and private sector have shown great enthusiasm in coming on board and joining this mission, that is NDH.
Thank you, sir. It has been a fantastic set of questions that came, and you have given very, very detailed answers. And we hope that we will have opportunity in future to have the blessing and support for you and your team for this consultation in future, where we can see an international collaborative learning and a build up of such infrastructure. Thank you. I don't think there are any more questions, so let me leave it to the organizers to express their vote of thanks to this the large set of audience and dignitaries who have assembled today here to understand the initiatives that we have taken and be a party to the larger global initiative of making digital public good available in the health sector, and our contribution in this manner of making our CoWIN platform freely available to any country who would like to have it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much to all our panelists, and thank you, Mr. Koshi, for moderating the Q&A section with such brevity and vigor. Before we conclude, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to all the dignitaries and speakers for their valuable contribution to the global conclave. My deepest appreciation goes to the thousands of participants who joined us from across the world and helped to make today's conclave such a successful event. This is not the end, but just the beginning of a larger collaboration. On that positive and hopeful note, we now conclude the CoWIN Global Conclave 2021. Thank you once again and have a great evening ahead. Thank you so much.